Ulongata bati yada to ye ko madaifa. Inu to ye ko je love bipa. Oba tala, oba takutakun. Zongo eshu, ogun oya osun. Kini sheshe, tan she nile yo. O jalo jara.
Alafia, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I'm your host, Orisha, and today we're ready to get this thing cracking again for another dope live stream featuring the Wunam Nicky Love, the return of the ancestors, man. So shout out to everybody who made it to the live stream last night. We had a good time, man, chopping it up, talking about all things metaphysics and the elevation of the mind's eye. And I think we got the Wunam with us now. Listen. Did you want to open us up formally, as we always do with the homage to the ancestors?
Yeah. We got to pay homage to our ancestors. Always pay homage. We're asking that the ancestors rise, ancestors rise, ancestors rise. We're calling on you to give us the wisdom that we need, the wisdom that the people are listening to and seeking. We're asking that you rise up on our behalf, ancestors. We're asking that you protect this podcast, ancestors. We're asking that you protect it from people who are unrighteous, who don't want to see or want this information to be heard. We're asking that you block them, ancestors. Ancestors rise, ancestors rise. We ask that everybody's ancestors that's watching this show, that they guide them and that they also allow them to take this wisdom in, ancestors. And we thank you for continuing to guide us and protect us. Ashe.
Ashe. Oh yeah, it's a lot of that going on, man. Whole lot of just say fraudulent energy. You know what I'm saying? People, wearing the mask like the Fugees used to say. The mask. We're going.
They better be careful because the ancestors not playing no more either.
Hey, it is what it is at that point because if you go calling for that type of trouble, then if they answer, that's on you. Hey?
but see that what I'm seeing now is people that are especially spiritual people that are not doing what's righteous in the eyes of the ancestors are getting their soul snatched out of here. And not only that, whatever work they're doing, I don't care whether they're dealing with Palo, Ifa, whatever, Santeria, whatever work they're doing, if they're not doing it with righteousness and doing it to heal people, it's backfiring on them. I'm seeing it a lot.
Oh yeah.
So,
you and me
so
both.
You gotta be careful.
Yeah, I'm seeing it in real life, and I'm seeing it, from other like channels that I follow or that I listen to, things of that nature, where it's other thought leaders and influencers, people who share the information for the for the culture and for the people that's saying the same thing, but also in studying, like reading, literature and just studying, and rising to the elevation of the consciousness. I see, that whole thing we talk about, not just karma, but as above, so below, as within, so without. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the laws of the universe. So it's like what you give, what you get. Ain't no way around it. And with the way the universe is going right now, with everything moving so much faster, it's like it's crazy. How fast things are happening.
Yeah. It's real fast too. They ain't even understanding. It's faster than I'm gonna say this is quicker than the speed of light. That's how fast it's moving.
Yes, yeah. That's what's up. So, return of the ancestors. It's a lot of ways we can go with this, but I definitely want to get to the significance of how we communicate with the ancestors, how we venerate the ancestors, and how we can really like make that a part of our life with the expectancy of knowing that we're not just talking to the air. We're not just talking, to use our imaginations. We're not just talking to, just like some make believe, imaginary friends or anything like that. Because I think one of the things that I'm seeing for people, especially who are new to the channel or new to the spiritual, path or the awakening, I should say, right? They ask, how do I really like tap in with the ancestors? Like, what can I do to really communicate with my ancestors to where I know that they're listening, or I know that they hear me, or I know that, whatever I'm sharing with them is being heard, and I can expect some sort of, reaction or some sort of, just some sort of something to let me know that I got confirmation of, me communicating with them.
For the people who feel like they're talking to air, all I'm gonna say is, how dare you? Because majority of them, they come out of the church. Now, the question I would have for those people and it's not being rude, it's just a real question. Have you ever seen God?
Mm.
Have you ever seen, tell me, if you ever seen God, then you got to know your ancestors exist.
Mm-hmm.
You are your ancestor and your ancestors you.
Facts.
And what we have to understand is that our ancestors were here at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So when we call upon our ancestors, it's even more powerful than calling upon God. Okay? Now, some might be like, especially the Christians, well, how? God blessed me with this. God blessed me with, well, my ancestors blessed me with things too. And what's even more special about my ancestors is that I can ask them to download information into my DNA and I'll get it. I don't know if God could do that. Okay? Um, for those who want to understand how to call upon them and know that they do exist, just tell them to give you a sign. I'll give you an example. My mother's African, right? I'm African. And when my mother died or transitioned, I would always call on her. And in the beginning, when she first transitioned, she would always give me a sign. I'm gonna give you one example. I was in my spiritual room doing some work with my ancestors, and I called. Of course, you always call through your mother. And I said, Ma, I think I was mad. I don't know what I was mad about, but I was doing some work, and I was like, Ma, you need to fix this. You need to do that. And all of a sudden, the washing machine came on. Now, it wasn't a washing machine that was digital. It was the. It's funny because she just dropped the paper. It was a washing machine. You had to pull the button out to start it. So, with saying that, I knew that was my mother because actually, she stayed in the room in the back where the washer and dryer was at. So I knew it was her. Most of the time, when I'm calling on ancestors with a lot of my people that I do with my clients and my initiates, I have them call upon their ancestors and I ask after that the ancestors to give us a sign. And every time they do, a bird might fly by, a tree might drop a branch, like a, excuse me, what do you call it? Leaf down. Okay, so we always get signs. So for those who are non-believers, do believe because you got to remember you are your ancestor and your ancestors you. This is how deep it is. I have the same tone of voice as my mother and grandmother. So when people hear me and they know my mother and grandmother, and they say, "Well, you sound like your mother. You sound like your grandmother." Yeah, because that's my ancestors, and I'm them, and they are me. So people, we got to understand. You do know your ancestors were here at one time. You seen your mother physically. You seen your father physically. You seen your grandmother physically. You know they were here. So who best to call upon to help you? Who has had experience in the physical world already, right? Knows all about it. And then when I got into the ancestral world, they didn't even know more because in our traditions, and this is not for every tradition, but different tribes in Africa believe different. For our traditions, when your ancestors transition, they are perfect beings. They're perfect beings. So these ancestors have knowledge and they have information that you can't even fathom to have yet because you ain't an ancestor. So you all must know that your ancestors are very real. Your ancestors are very relevant. Your ancestors are there to guide you. A lot of times when I'm doing, my divination readings and stuff like that, sometimes I'll tap into people's ancestors. I do ancestor readings and I'll communicate with them. Your ancestors calling you. They're standing behind you. They want you to call upon them. Why you ain't talking to your ancestors? Right? So pretty much we got to understand the ancestors are like number one. It's before your Orishas. It's before any gods that we deal with in our traditions. We always pay reverence to our ancestors. As a matter of fact, the tribe I've been initiated in Ghana, in
Mm-hmm.
northern Ghana, very private tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Our gods of our ancestors are called the Wunonam. Wunonam. They gave me the name Wunam.
Mm-hmm.
And it means overall the spirits on the land. So the Wunonam in my tradition is, are the gods over the ancestors on the land.
Mm-hmm.
The gods of the ancestors that deal with the people on the land. Okay, so that's who the Wunam is.
Mm,
So they gave me my spiritual name, Wunam, meaning overall the spirits of the land.
mm,
Okay, very powerful. And what's crazy is when I got initiated with them, they came to my dreams. They was
mm,
giving me stuff to drink in my dreams.
mm,
And it was we was in another dimension, and it was crazy because it was giving me this, it was giving me that, and it was all men. It was
mm,
all men, y'all. Yeah. So it was powerful. But you know, one of the things they have me on a mission and have had me on the mission to do over the years was make sure that our people understand and know who our ancestors are.
mm. That's right.
Very important.
Mm.
Okay. Adonis says, my ancestors sent animals. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Mine's too.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
be
turn that fan, it's hot in here.
birds, squirrels, eagles, hawks, crows. I mean, you name it, I be seeing some of everything. Matter of fact, we was just talking about the other day with the black cats. I see black cats all the time.
Yeah.
It's just one of the things that, we were taught that that's bad luck. But, if you think about it, especially like somebody like our tribe, the people that we deal with, everything that we were taught was, like BS. Like it was all bullshit. Like it's pretty
Right.
much the opposite. You know what I'm saying? So like they teaching
Right.
black cats are bad luck, da da da. Okay, well what about Bast or Bastet? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
By right.
right, you know what I
Right.
mean? So they want us to go away from the mother or anything that has, that can bring us to closer to source. You know what I mean? So we
Well,
gotta
you know what I say about that. I don't care what they say. They can kiss my behind. At the end of the day, we got to understand. Well, I'm going to tell y'all this. Anytime you see a black cat, that's your ancestors sending them to either protect you or warn you. So when
mm,
you see a black cat, they're there for a good reason,
mm,
right? They're not
mm,
there for bad luck. Or, people, I've heard, stuff in the South where they take off their hat if they see a black cat, spitting it through the. What kind of nonsense is that? Come on
right,
now, right? And then the EME send the black cats too because two of my black cats are EME sent.
mm,
Right. So me also use the black cats. A lot of people don't know that, but they do. And one of my I have to say my son's in Oyo State in Africa, he's seen both of the cats. He said, oh, that's the EME, that's the EME. He was like, take him off the screen. He was playing, but he was
wow.
telling me that.
Do they
Yeah,
live with
so
you? Do the
huh?
black cats? I said, do the black cats live with you?
Yeah, my cats live with me.
That's what's
They ain't
up.
in here now, but both of them live with me. Yeah, they do.
Wow, that's what's up.
Yeah. They
That's
spoil you too. They got diamond collars like Bastet.
listen,
That's
listen,
right. Because
listen.
the ancients took care of them black cats.
Oh
They
yeah,
took care of cats. They didn't play about the cats in the
listen,
ancient times.
listen. One of them crossed my path through art. And look, I sent it to somebody. I'm gonna wait until we get it working, but I sent it to somebody who could take something and do something with it, man. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with it. But yeah, they definitely have a way of kind of like weaving their, they leaving their trail, leaving, saying their mark in regards to showing up and letting us know. So I
Yeah,
look forward to that.
they do. They do.
Let me
The
see.
bills out babies. The cats, we got to take care of them.
Mm-hmm. I see Teresa Miller says our ancestors are always here to help us. We are never alone. That's facts. I sure.
That's facts. And a lot of times they're with you, walking behind you. You don't even know it.
Mm. Wow.
I had one of my clients call me the other day, and she says, she says, I remember you told us a story about when you was tasting lamb, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she said she experienced the same thing the other day.
Mm-hmm.
She said her mother used to like, what was it? Was it something she used to like?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it was a piece of, anyway, I can't remember what she said, but her mother used to like it, so she started tasting it.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she thought about me, and because my mother used to love lamb chops.
Mm.
So, I'm at the store one day, I keep tasting lamb chops. So she's telling me, get me some
Wow.
lamb chops. I want to orphan the lamb chops. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So she said she experienced that the other day, but people don't understand. Your ancestors, again, they are you and you are them. They will work through you.
Yeah.
They want what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes too, your ancestors, I had some ancestors that, or some of my clients that they were smoking a lot. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
well, who in your ancestral pool smoked a lot,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
Mm-hmm.
oh, my uncle was So you need to give him a signal because he's smoking through you. You
Right.
see?
Right.
So yeah, our ancestors stay with us, and a lot of times people don't know.
Right.
You can get mad because they don't know. They don't know, so you have to teach them.
Right. Right.
And when you teach them, and you teach, especially making their ancestral altars, beginning to talk to them, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
And most of them have ancestral altars, don't even know, because a lot of people keep all their, people that transition on their fireplaces,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
stuff like that, don't even know they got an altar set up in their house already.
Yeah, me too. I like even back, like way before I knew, how to tap in with the ancestral
Mhm.
shrines and all that stuff.
Mhm.
I had the same thing at my old house. I had a fireplace that kind of had like a glass enclosure that sat over the fireplace, and so
Uh-huh.
it was like a lip that was probably about maybe about a foot like outside of the wall. And so I
Mhm.
put their pictures like right there in that centerpiece. Like it was dope because it to me it was. And in hindsight, it's like I feel like they spoke through me, you know what I'm saying, to get me to
Right.
put it there so it could be a shrine and I didn't even know it. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a real thing, man, and it's dope for sure.
They will speak through you if you just take the time to pay homage to them. A lot of times, what I usually recommend before we set up our ancestral altars inside, because
Mm-hmm.
in Africa, most of the tribes you go to in Africa, their ancestral altars are outside,
Yep.
with the exception of a few,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they have theirs outside, and usually I like to tell people before they even set it up inside to call upon them outside by a tree. Okay. And when you do, you want to use pepper and put it under your tongue so you can communicate clearly with them as you're calling them and asking them to come down. Okay. And then I'll tell them to go in the house and set up the ancestral altars in the house, and have one there. But, you should have one outside too. But some people live in cold places, so they can't, go back and forth outside. But it's very, very good to have one outside as well.
Shay, yeah, and you know what? Adana said, "How do we know what it means? In regards to the science, like when you see animals. Like for me, for example, I used to always see, and we spoke about this too on one of the last episodes that you and I did together. But I was telling you about how I used to always get crows that would come to this field. I used to take a lunch break in this big field when I was driving semis back in the day, and these crows, like they would just come and just chill with me. I'm talking about sometimes it'd be two or three, sometimes it could be like 20, 30, maybe even more. And
Hmm.
I found the pictures too that I was looking for when I was telling you about it. But
Hmm.
like, how would we know what message or what, you know what I mean? Like what ancestor, like, say, how would we know how to kind of tap into whatever that is that we're receiving from them when we see these animal signs and these different types of totems?
Let me tell you what's crazy again. Your ancestors are you, and you are them. You all share the same DNA.
Mm,
All you got to do is ask your ancestors to give you a sign, and they will
mm,
show you. You don't have to be a seer like me. All you got to do is make sure you call on your ancestors, right?
mm-hmm,
And I'm gonna give you all. I don't know if I said this on one of the other shows, but I talked about the fact that I do European words, medical intuitive readings, right?
mm-hmm. Yes,
So I'm
ma'am.
able to see in people's bodies,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm,
Now I've been doing that for years. Even when I was in medical field, I was doing that, but it wasn't conscious. You understand? I
right,
was doing it for my own personal reasons.
right.
So I started getting a few people calling me with readings and asking me, "Do you do medical intuitive readings?"
Mm-hmm,
And most of the times I was doing other readings, ancestral readings, love readings. I said, well, I said I could, you know what I mean? So, at that time, I'm gonna just be honest, I wasn't sure, if I could do it for somebody else. So I went outside and I had my ancestors. This is one of my shrines I had set up outside. I said, ancestors, I need you to give me a vision so I can see in people's body to help them when they need help if they're sick. I said, I need you to give me a clear vision, ancestor. So I need you to download this in my, in my DNA. And when I tell y'all, and this is real, my ancestors did what I asked them to do. Because after that, I started getting a lot of medical intuitive readings. And how I knew I was on point because I was telling them what I see. I was looking in the body. I would say, send me a picture. I would scan their body. I would look at all the organs, everything. And then I would tell woman, well, you got I see two cysts in your womb. Or I see you got cysts in your breast, right? Or what's going on with your kids? You got diabetes? And I'm going to say I was at least 99.7% accurate. And I thank my ancestors for that because they downloaded in the DNA. I asked them, okay? Another story. My daughter, she had a C-section with her second baby. and she was. They didn't do it right. They didn't sew it right. She came in the room, and when I tell you, blood was squirting out of her stomach, blood was squirting out of her stomach. I was like, "Oh no!" So I'm rushing her back to the hospital, and she was in the hospital for maybe a good 8 days.
Hmm.
So I'm there with her. Now, mind you, I do have medical experience, so I kind of understood a lot that was going on. They wanted to give her a blood transfer. I was like, a blood, what do you call it?
Transfusion.
Transfusion,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was like, no, no, give her some iron and build her iron back up. You ain't giving her nobody else's blood,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I got that out the way. Then she was in hospital, they kept giving her antibiotics. They want to put her on blood pressure. I said, you ain't fixing the problem, right?
Right.
So I had to call the administrator of the hospital. I was like, I don't know what y'all doing, but I'm very familiar in the medical field. I used to work in the ER.
I
You
know that.
understand? I know about that, right?
Yeah.
So long story short, I went outside after the 8th day she was in the hospital. And now my father's side, African in America, my grandfather
Mm-hmm.
was a medicine man. He used to travel. That was American side. He was a medicine. He used to travel all over, and he used to do herbs and medicines for everybody. So I called upon him. I said, "Look here, Granddad." His name was John Ray Mobley. I said, "Granddad, I need you. I need you to tell me what I need to give my daughter so we can heal her."
Mm.
Now, Spirit showed me something. So what I did is I said, "Give me my child. She coming out the hospital. Y'all trying to kill my child." I
Right.
took her out the hospital. I bought her home. I did a straight week of nothing but greens.
Mm.
And when I asked my grandfather what I need to give her, he said, "Yarrow,
What's that?
yarrow root." Very
Mm.
powerful root. So I said, yarrow. So I went and I went to the herbal shop, and I said, "You have yarrow?" And I got the powder,
Mm-hmm.
and I put it across her. I put it across her C-section.
Mm.
It healed it up in 2 days. Then I gave it to her internally because whatever was going on inside, they didn't sew her up right. I gave it to her internally, but I'm telling that story because I went to my great grandfather in the ancestral realm and asked him, and he showed me what to give her.
Wow.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And y'all got to know how special and how great our ancestors were. You see? And after that, she was fine. I
Mm.
healed her. I brought her home because if I had left her there, it was gonna kill my child. You
Wow.
see? Yeah. So when he told, and it's funny because I've been using Yarrow ever since. It's really good. That they say American Indians used to use it, and they would use it for wounds.
Mm.
Okay, and it was never lying because I am not exaggerating. In 2 days, that wound was closed.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. So
Hmm.
y'all check out y'all. And some of y'all might know about this Yarrow root.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. Now let me ask you this, and we got some questions too that I'll bring to the floor after. But let me ask you this. So when it comes to tapping in, I mean, your gift is different, right? Because you were born a seer, and born blessed with the gifts of being a daughter of the IJ and the IME. But with those of us, because we all have gifts, what I'm saying, especially if you have melanin, then you have access to superpowers, right? So for those of us who weren't born with as strong as a access to our gifts like you do, what would you recommend when we're doing this in regards to the communication with the ancestors? Does it matter if we're actually sitting at the ancestral shrine? Would it be better if we did it through meditation, or would it be better if we went to nature? Like, what would be like one of the best case scenarios for a brand new novice to tap in and communicate with their ancestors, but also, like you said, position themselves to ask for a sign to be able to receive it? Does it matter the environment or where we're at when we do that, or is it more about
It
the?
really doesn't matter because your ancestors are always with you.
Got you.
So you could be in your house meditating. You can call in an ancestor to protect you because a lot of people don't realize when you meditate, you got to be careful too because the disagreeable spirits be there too.
Oh
So
wow.
you can ask your ancestors to protect you,
Mm,
okay, and sit with you while you
mhm,
meditate.
mhm,
You can go to your shrine. A lot of times, I tell people to go to their shrines at least once a day or at night before you go to bed. You light your candle, make sure you give them their offerings, and
mhm,
you talk to them there, right? Or you can go in nature. Sometimes I just want to go outside and talk to my ancestors, right?
mm.
um a lot of people worry about too much, and what I mean by that, you're worried about hearing them. Everybody's not a hearer.
Right. Right.
Everybody's not a seer, and it's okay.
Right.
It's okay. You got enough of us that confirm that we've actually heard and seen our ancestors, right?
Yep.
For those who really want to communicate with them, we do ancestry readings,
Oh yeah.
right? So I'm willing to do ancestry readings if you all are interested, but to connect with them yourselves, just make sure you are doing what you have to do, paying homage to them, thanking them for guiding you, thanking them for allowing you to wake up, thanking them for being who you are. Because if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be here, right? So, pretty much, you want to just make sure you keep a good communication with your ancestors. You want to make sure you always communicate with them. And another thing, y'all, I tell people all the time, you don't necessarily have to go to your shrines or outside. Because I'll be in bed at night and I'll talk to my ancestors. I'll be in bed. I'll just say, ancestors, I love you. Can y'all do this? Can y'all do that? And I'll just be in bed talking to them. That's because they're always around you. Once you open that portal and begin to communicate with them on a regular basis, they ain't leaving you. Okay? They're not going to leave you. They're going to always be there. You could be in it. Look at here. Now, y'all was funny. Pocketbook dropping, pocketbook falling down, right? That's my
Thank
answer.
you.
They're letting me know they're right here
Oh
with
yeah,
me. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Listen,
Yeah.
and I want them to be here too because listen, look, we went live last night. We live tonight, and we're going live again tomorrow. So we're going for the three-peat, man. So and all of it is centered around the invocation, the veneration, and the manifestation of bringing forth the power that I share the ancestors. So we're here for
That's right.
it. We are
That's
here
right.
for that. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So let me see. I got a couple of questions. So Ogunsola Humble Heart says, what would orphans do in regards to connecting with their ancestors? And that's a good question because I was going to ask a similar personal question, but I'll share the tribe's questions first.
Okay. A lot of times I get those readings, and a lot of times they've been adopted,
Mm,
right? It don't matter. It don't matter because at the end of the day, even your adopted parents, if they actually adopted you when they transition and you only knew them, they will become your ancestor too. But you still have your original ancestors where you came from on your maternal side and your father's side if you was adopted. So orphans, all they would have to do is still call upon the ancestors, okay? So you may not know the name of your mother because you're an orphan. You may have lost contact. All you have to do is say, I'm calling on my ancestors through my mother, who I do not know the name of, that birthed me in this world to calm and guide my path, to give me wisdom, to show me things, okay? So if you don't know who your mom is or your dad is, you can always call through your maternal. And then once you call through your maternal, even with your dad, if you don't know who your dad is, I call upon my father's ancestors. I don't know who he is, but I ask that they rise up and show me themselves in a dream or whatever it may be, because you still can connect with them. You don't have to know their names. Okay?
I share. That's deep because I'm glad you said that too. Because like even myself, and I know for a fact I'm not the only person that's in the same situation. Even like with my grandfather. Like I think you gave me a message from my grandfather on the live one of the live streams, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like that's powerful because I didn't know anything about him. So to me, it was similar to the question that Humble Hearts Ogun Solo had in regards to being an orphan because I wasn't technically an orphan, but I didn't know anything about him. You know what I mean? I know there's a
Right.
lot of people who are in the same situation, whether you're an orphan or you're raised with, one part of
Mm-hmm.
your family, both parts of your family, just absent
Mm-hmm.
of one parent or, you know what I mean, grandparent,
Mm-hmm.
etc. So it's like, that's a lot of people who deal with that in regards to
Right.
us, this experience that we're having here, in the Americas. So with that, and I love how you said like how to go about doing it too, because that really I think brings a lot of clarity to a lot of us as well. So
Right.
when it comes to ancestral shrines, because this is a question I get a lot too,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something that I'm doing something next weekend. I think I'm looking to do either like a group meditation or like a guided like kind of like remote viewing group session, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I need to get with you about trying to do something for the ancestors because one of the biggest questions, or I should say, most common questions or comments that I see is like how to even set up an ancestral shrine. So, for the sake of the people who are on the show or who might watch the recording or watch the upload of the episode, can you kind of share with us what some of the key elements are that should be like in the ancestral shrine that we kind of create for our ancestors?
Well,
Or is
it depends. Everybody has a way of setting up their ancestral shrines, okay,
okay,
or their altars in the house. When they're in the house, I call them altars. When they're outside, I call them shrines.
okay, okay.
But you know, mine's I have things in there that my mother, my grandmother liked, right?
Hmm.
And also, what we do in our tradition is we have to go to a graveyard, and we get 5 rocks. We get four small and one big before we go in that graveyard. And usually it should be your own ancestral graveyard, but some people don't have access. You can go to any graveyard, but you always respect it. And you go in there, you take 18 pennies with you. You go in there, you give them 9. Take some whiskey or liquor or something. Spit it before you go in. Drop 9 pennies and ask them ancestors in that graveyard, can you come in to get some rocks? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and you go pick the rocks because you want it to be where there's a lot of ancestors at, and then you get the rocks, come back, you put them on your ancestral altar in the home, or if you have it outside on your shrine. Okay, and sorry, when you come out the graveyard, you have to make sure you drop the other 9 pennies when you leave out. Okay, so you drop 9 pennies going in with whiskey, 9 pennies coming out. Get your rocks and get up out of there. You can also get some of the graveyard dirt, right? And and I'm gonna tell y'all because I want to share this with y'all. The reason I say get out of there because the last time me and Dinker went,
I just
them
heard him
spirits
too.
was talking to us. You hear what
Listen,
I'm saying?
listen.
Look.
I just
It's so
heard him, and
powerful.
we had a good conversation or two earlier today about the ancestors. So, and I heard him just on the background. What's good, blah. But yeah, listen, please share that because we need it, man. The people need to hear like how we can do this and like what's popping with the ancestors.
Yeah, well, let me tell y'all what happened when we went in there to get his rocks. They was talking to us. Them spirits was happy we was up in there because we're hearers and seers. So we had all kind of spirits coming to us. So there was a Chinese couple that died, and they showed me how they died. They was in a car accident here in Georgia, and it was crazy because they was asking me to fix their grave site, right? So I'm looking. I know I ain't hear what I'm hearing. I'm hearing the lady crying, right? And then a dinker start crying. They start crying through him. I was like, "What's wrong?" He was like, "They're talking to me. They're crying to me." So they're showing me all of these things that happened to them, and they got in a car. They both died in a car accident. It was kind of sad, but their grave site hadn't been dressed right, or have been neglected. So we kind of fixed it up for them. But when you are a spiritual, and a lot of people, probably can attest to this, when you go in them graveyards, they be talking. They will talk to you because they're ancestors. So yeah, that's the experience that happened. But anyway, so once you do that, you put your rocks on your shrine and you put them on your altar. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You always want to keep water there for them. Make sure you change their water, and you always want to give them their offerings. Now, everybody don't know, but some of y'all might, just say for instance, just say if y'all had a grandfather, you knew him, you grew up with him, he liked baked macaroni and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Put a little small bowl there for him, very small,
Mm-hmm.
and give him some baked macaroni and cheese. Give him an offering. Sometimes they'll take the whole thing, because I've had it happen. And people don't believe it, but I don't give a damn what they believe. I had it happen. And sometimes they'll take the essence of the food. So people, they say, well, how you going to feed them? Sometimes they'll take the essence and it'll be dried up. Okay? So give them their offerings. Now, I believe in making it pretty. My grandmother loved shoes. My mother loved clothes. There's certain things that I'll put on there that they like certain African dishes that come from our tribe, our country. So I'll make that. Like we have a dish called jacksita. We have one called kachupa, right? So I might put that on there because that was their favorite dish. So you want to feed them. You want to take care of your ancestors, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Don't neglect them. Take care of them. You can make your altars however you want. You could make it pretty. You could put flowers. One time, it was, I don't know, I think Ogunshola did an Ifa reading for me, and they said they wanted some white flowers. So I had to go buy them some white flowers. My mother said she wanted some lamb, so I had to go get her some lamb. So make sure you take care of your ancestor shrines.
Yeah.
You take care of them shrines, they're going to take care of you.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when you telling me about my grandfather, what he wanted, and I shot out there and got it in short order too. Because
You did?
oh yeah, I don't play. Listen, the one we just talked about.
Yeah.
The next day, because I know the significance of it, and for me personally, like that's what I share with people who might be like skeptical, or some people who might be like kind of tiptoeing on the fence or on the line about whether to cross over to African spirituality or not. But for me personally, it's funny. I'm trying to think of who it was. I can't remember who it was, but I just was watching the podcast earlier today. Another brother was saying about getting spiritual ass whoopings. You know what I'm saying? Like by not being obedient and not listening when spirit is guiding you and telling you what you need to do or should do or supposed to do, and you don't, and they give you that spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Like I took that in the very beginning of my phase with Ifa and Isheshe, and I'll never forget it. I was maybe 3-4 months in, and I was told to do a protection bath, and I didn't. It wasn't like I was being like disrespectful or not being obedient. I just had so much going on. I didn't carve out the time like I was supposed to do it. And so lo and behold, where like less than a week after that divination, I got into a jam and the shit was crazy because it really like was like crazy. Like it was almost like that movie Final Destination, because it was almost like what could go wrong did go wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like it was nuts. And come to find out after the fact, it was people who was doing, dark work. They was doing, all that foolishness. So it's like I was brand new and I didn't know how real it was at that point. I mean, I knew it was real, but I hadn't experienced any of it really for real. So then when I got that spiritual ass whooping, I said, okay, going forward, if I'm in a position or when I'm in a position to whatever they tell me need to be done, can't do everything, do what I can do, and I'm gonna damn sure put the effort into doing whatever was told to do, because I'm not dealing with that again. I don't want no parts of that. So
no parts of that, right?
Obedient, those are the ones that see the most openings and the most, you know what I'm saying, like the most like the most opportunities, or the most like create like the path and the door opening, like as she was just like creating that way, you know what I'm saying, that path for you to move forward and progress. But if you don't, there's so many other forces that's already banking on that and trust and believe they're going to try to capitalize on your lack of obedience or being in alignment with whatever the messages that spirit gave you. So I know that from a first-hand experience, from being somebody as a as like a client of a diviner. So how would you advise us about how real and significant it is to be obedient to spirit, especially when you get messages or divine, like consultations?
Well, I don't want people to get afraid now, because they're going to think, well, if I don't do this, my ancestors is going to allow me to go through this today. So what happens is, when you're not obedient to your ancestors, right? They're not going to hurt you. They're not going to do wrong. They're sort of going to like open the way so you can get some signs, okay? And they're going to allow, as we call them in Africa, disagreeable spirits to creep in, okay? Because they're really trying to get you a message, and you must listen to this message. You have to be obedient in the sense of listening, but the ancestors are not going to harm you. They're not going to cause these different things. Like you said, that was people doing some disagreeable magic or energy on you, right? But the ancestors will allow things to happen so you can get a sign, right? And they will warn you in many different ways and let you know, okay? And a lot of times we so caught up in life and daily living, we don't pay attention, but you got to pay attention, right? Especially if you're spiritual and you get a reading or African divination reading or Ifa reading, whatever, you better pay attention. Because when that person is reading for you or divining for you, they're trying to let you know, hey, your ancestors are telling me you better stop smoking. Like I had a lady like that before. Her kidneys. If you don't stop, you're going to die. And I had to tell her, you're going to die. Your ancestors said they don't want you to join the ancestor realm now, so stop doing this, and that. Right? So the ancestors will warn you. And we must understand that we have to pay attention to signs, especially when you're getting readings or divination readings. I can't hear you. Where'd you go?
Oh, my bad. I had muted myself. I had to sneeze, but that's real. I didn't want to do it on the and mess up, interrupt what you were saying. But that's real though, because like when I like being somebody now on the opposite side, right, of the board or of the tray or of the whether it's Opine or whatever you're dividing on, but or whatever tools you're using, being on the opposite end now, giving the divinations, I also share with people like how I personally have experiences. So I'm like, yo, I'm not telling you that you should do this or do that, but I'm telling you, me personally, what happened when I did not. So you choose and you do whatever, saying you choose to do. That's on you, because I don't do this for the money. I do this for, saying empowering our people. Like I do it for the love and for helping us. But at the same time, I know how real it is when you get these messages, so it's like, that's what I try to share with people the most, is like, give them the opportunity to move and decide, on the act of free will, but also not trying to persuade them, but just letting them know what I've experienced when I didn't, do whatever was shown to me. So it's a
Right.
real thing, man. And then on top of that, what makes it worse is that you have the people who are like what we were talking about earlier, the people who are wearing the mask, out here parading them with the facade as if they're these holier than thou babalawos, Ifa priests, Nifas, whatever, but yet they doing some dirty work too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like now people are kind of like, damn, well, where do I go? What do I do? Who do I trust? Because I don't know, what I'm saying, if this person is really for me or not, because there are a lot of people who will give you messages or who will say things and advise things or prescribe things because they just want to get some coins, not necessarily because they're out for the best interest or, the safety or protection of the person they're divining for. So what would you say to the people who are skeptical because of some of the people who aren't doing work that distributes, or I should say displays Iwakwele, or doing, work with integrity?
One of the things, that's why I'm really big on having a council of elders, right? Council of elders in Africa, even with my Wunam sisters, I have a council of elders. So we deal with stuff like that. But trust me, they get punished too. Nifas and Babalaos get punished too. You ain't got no business doing what you ain't supposed to be doing. Now, we do know that it's the people and not the tradition. Okay? We live in a world where you got good people and you got bad people. You got people who want power, who's power hungry, right? So you got to realize it's the people. It's not the tradition of Ifa. It's not the tradition of Palo. It's not the tradition of Voodoo. It's the people behind it that want to use it to do bad. And that's what's sad, because a lot of that does go on, especially here in Atlanta. Everybody want to think they bad, and everybody want to, think they got an African Baba Lao, and I hear it all the time. That's why I stay in my own little corner and stay like that for years, because you have been given a beautiful gift. You have been given a gift, and not only that, Africans in America have been blessed to be able to learn about the traditions of their ancestors. So when you learn this tradition, whether it's Ifa, whether it's Voodoo, coming from Benin, any part of Africa, let me tell y'all something. You got to understand, you must use it to do what's righteous. You were given these gifts in your hand. You was given these gifts in your ears. You was given these gifts in your eyes to be able to see and help the community.
Sure.
The village. Now, we may not have traditional villages like they have in Africa, but we got villages. And what you all don't understand, we're also in a major transformation. Universal. And trust me, there's some beings that's watching, including your ancestors. So you got to understand, when you think that you're doing something, all of that can be stripped away from you. They can take it away, just like this. You can wake up, you won't see nothing no more. You can wake up, you won't be able to heal nothing no more. Everything can be stripped away from you. So my recommendation for those who are doing stuff like that, or anybody who experiences that with a Babylon, unfortunately here in the States, we don't have elders we can go to like that, but we should create it.
Yeah.
Okay? We should create it. I'm telling y'all, I got initiates, and we have 28, and I have a council of elders at the top. So if any one of them act their behinds up or think they're going to do this or do that, we get them and we sit down and we talk with them. Unfortunately, here in Atlanta, they need something like that. So when people are complaining about, well, this Babylon did this one did, excuse me, did that, they can go report to somebody.
Sure.
Right? What we have a bad habit of doing is, oh, well, I'm going to go to my Ogun part. I got to know Ogun, Osun, Sango, all of them are drained dry. Because everybody got Ogun, everybody got Osun, everybody got Sango. And some people are not using for the righteous things. So I'm saying that to say that we must understand that Ifa is not that. Ifa is not that. You are not supposed to use your shrine to do bad. And if you all really know and get deep into Ifa, you will understand that some of the Orishas don't like that. They don't like that, right? So, and even the other traditions. We deal with a lot of water gods in Cabo Verde, right? And in the tradition, my father tradition, we deal with a lot of bush spirits and dwarfs, right? If I was, unless somebody's trying to harm me or do something, If I was to take it to say I want to go hurt you, they probably come and kick me. You see?
Yep.
Because the traditions are truly to help your village. You go to Africa, I'm not saying Africa's the greatest and that they're all, because there's some corruption that goes on too, but for the most part, in that village, when you go to that traditional healer, whether you want to call him a Odanani, or whether you want to call him, you know what I mean, Ifa
Mm-hmm.
priest, Iyalode, or
Mm-hmm.
Tendana, like we call them, let me tell you something. They're there to do what they've been put here to do, as the ancestors asked them to do, was to heal the village.
Mm.
They're the doctors of the village. So you must understand, we need to have that concept here, but you got Africans in America that want to think they're bad. They're the ones sometimes that cause the problems in Africa, because they'll go to this Babylon and lie. And if the Babylon, because some of them ain't right in Africa either, because I had a few try to threaten me. I ain't gonna lie, this one dude tried to threaten me. I said, okay, come on with it. I said, I'm
Yeah.
African too, my brother. I said, so
Oh,
come with
yeah.
it. Talk about,
Mm-hmm.
oh, he put me in an old goon pot and I got to, no, get out of here. I didn't tell you to do that. And I'm not
Right.
afraid of you either, because
Right.
you're doing what's unrighteous. So my thing is here, what's happening because Africans in America was not born into the tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And they go over to Africa, they get, initiated, and then they learn about these things. They don't understand the true nature of really doing what you're supposed to do with the traditions. Okay? And they got to start doing what's righteous with it, because I see a lot of them are going to start dropping. They're going to get their gifts taken away. Them Orisas are going to start leaving them. They ain't seen nothing yet if they don't do what's right. And what's crazy is they don't understand. I always say this, and you heard me say it before. Atlantis is under Atlanta, so that's our additional ancestors, right?
Yep.
Right. That's our additional ancestors. So Atlanta is the connection to ancient Kemet, right?
Mm-mm.
So it's not a surprise that all of us are returning back here. Y'all, what y'all? Let me tell y'all something. Y'all dealing with Ifa, but do y'all know who you really are? Because before Ifa, which I'm going to say, Ifa, all of them traditions are connected to ancient Kemet. Because if you look on the walls, I'm gonna take it a step further. I always say to people, we are voodoo. I told them voodoo didn't start in Benin, it started on the walls of Kemet. I've been saying that for years. So we're saying that we gotta understand who we are. We have returned and come back as the ancient ones. Ancient ones. Right? So we're here on this land, Atlanta. People need to do better. We need to be coming together instead of fighting each other. This one want to fight this one because you deal with Paula, because you said this, you said that. My brother, I want to say, shut the hell up. We got bigger fish to fry. What about our kids in the community? Because right now, I'm going to be straight. We was just watching something on YouTube the other day. We're watching the hoods in Texas, the hoods in Tennessee, the hoods in South Carolina, and all these young boys killing themselves, killing each other.
It's the same in every city.
In
Yeah.
every city, the same ones. And they all, and what's crazy is, right? From city to city, they look alike. Dreads, the same look. All
Oh,
of
yeah.
them throwing up the signs with the
Black,
guns and thinking they
black
bad.
wearing hoodies in summertime
Yeah,
and
the same. Now, so what makes me question, what did they do to my babies? Because they all are babies. Why is it in every hood in the United States of America, these young boys feel like they got to kill and sell drugs to survive? What did they do to our children? Now, we're saying that. That's what I'm talking about. We got bigger fish to fry. Why are we not using our healing powers, our Orishas, all of that stuff to make sure we protect these kids? Because they're dying at an alarming rate. We had a young boy that called us the other night. He was scared. Oh, Miss Nikki, can you do this? Can you? I need you to read this because I feel like something's gonna happen tonight. They gave him my address on Facebook and they're gonna come shoot up my house. This young boy has 2 babies in the house. 2 babies. He already got his car shot up, and only because we gave him bulletproof,
He didn't get shot.
he didn't get shot.
He said
Mm.
bullets all around.
He said bullets were flying all around him, but he didn't get shot. But now he's worried because they may come shoot up his house. So my thing is, what we doing? But we want to pick up an orphan and give it to Ogun and get you in a car accident because you did this or you did that. Why are you not using Ogun to stop them from using guns in the community? Because not only They're young boys, but young children are dying.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's sad. So this is my message to the people. I don't
Hmm.
give a goddamn if you deal with Ifa, if you deal with Palo, if you deal with Voodoo. Take that magic and use it to save our community. Because the truth of the matter is we are rising as a people. We are rising as a people. You know what I mean? And I'm watching these kids now. You don't. It's not all of them that's doing that, because you got the few select that want to get into spirituality. That's into everybody. Well, I'm gonna tell y'all what I see. Because Ifa is popular with the rappers, all of a sudden these young boys now want to get into Ifa. And they get into Ifa because it's the trend thing. Not understanding
The
the
significance.
cultural part of Ifa.
Yeah, the significance of it.
Right. Significance, cultural, and the real beauty of Ifa. Right? They don't understand. So they think it's cool. Oh, I'm Ifa. You got your leggings on. You got your beads on. Come on now. But are you serving them shrines? Are you attending to your ancestors?
That part.
You still walking around carrying a gun. You bad, but you Ifa. Okay? So, we got to understand, family, that has to change.
Yeah.
Because we have bigger fish to fry. We got a lot of work to do. And it's not a coincidence that, we all coming back to Atlanta. I told y'all the story. I was supposed to go to Maryland. I was like, I want to stay closer to New York. Spirit said, no, you got to go to Atlanta. I said, why? Right? So I was reading the Black Enterprise magazine at that time, and I owned a contracting company in New Jersey. I was the first Black female to own a contracting company in New Jersey. I had 14 employees working for me at 30 years old, okay? So I said, Black Enterprise said, Atlanta was number one in Black, owned small businesses. So okay, I'm going to go check it out. When I got on this land of Atlanta, I seen all kind of spiritual stuff, y'all. I started seeing trees that I seen in Africa. I was like, that looked like a tree in Africa. I'm looking around. Oh, the energy was powerful. I said, okay, I got it, ancestors. I know why I'm supposed to be here. And I stayed here ever since. But as time progressed, I start seeing ancient ones come back. And I'm talking about literally their faces. I start seeing Amenhotep walking around with the beards, right? And the locks in their hair with the 2 earrings. I said, oh, there they go. There goes the ancient ones.
Yeah.
So I start showing the young boys, look at this. You know who you are? You're Akhenaten, or you're Ramesses, right? Look at you. Why you got 2 earrings in your ear and you got bling bling on? That comes from the ancient ancestors. So I start pulling out the pictures. So I knew at that time that I was supposed to be here in Atlanta. And many of us that are supposed to be here are here for a reason. Right? So, let me see. Adonna says, heal us instead of walking around showboating. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I was going to address that, but I wanted to wait until you. I didn't want to interrupt because everything you were saying was right in alignment with what I got, my little download from spirit. But that's real. Like, that's real.
Yeah. And just to add to that, okay, so after I started looking around, I said, nah, this land was part of Africa. So there's 2 things. I don't know if I told y'all this before, but Emory University had done an excavation here and found a city exactly like Cairo, with pyramids down there and the big giant, statues of the pharaohs in Atlanta. They put it on the TV and took it off real quick and fast. Never seen it again, never heard about it again, but it was here in Atlanta. They found that land, that city. Right? And then I was watching PBS and they showed how Atlanta fit into North Africa perfectly like a puzzle, and that it used to be a part of Africa. So I knew what I was seeing when I got here. I knew ancestors was lying to me. Ancestors said this was a part of Africa, that tree was in Africa, that herb was in Africa. See what I'm saying?
Man.
So, with saying that, y'all, yeah, this is the place.
I say. No, I didn't mean to interrupt. I didn't want to interrupt. I can't wait to share. Like, I feel like we're double dutching. I can't wait to jump in.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Nah, well, the first thing is like, it's divine alignment. I just feel like everything is divine alignment right now because the way everything is unfolding and how it's like lining up and alignment. But to kind of like piggyback off of what you said in regards to like using the shrines and using the ashe for the right reasons, right? That goes into what Adana shared about heal us instead of walking around showboating.
That's right.
That's one of the things. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like I've been talking to some of my elders and just talking to myself and to the ancestors and you know and to spirit about this whole thing with the tradition, because for me I see a whole lot of that. Everything that's in that one, two, three, four, six, seven word sentence that Adana put in there is like it's real. And it's to the point where it makes me want to hit the eject button and not even really deal with all that, because this is not what I'm here to do. Like I don't have
Right.
nothing to do with none of that. I don't want nothing to do with none of that, because I'm not. I don't give a damn about no title. I don't give a damn about no ceremony. I don't give a damn about whoever. You know what I'm saying? Like report to
Right.
you about that. I don't give a damn about none of that, because at the end of the day, your child
I'll
of
be
godness is
right back.
no better
1
than my,
minute. I'm listening. I'll be right back.
and my child of godness is no better than yours. But at the end of the day, it's like we got so much ego and so much. I feel like wanting to be this status symbol or wanting to be this, the creme de la creme, him, whatever the case. Like we're not doing what we're supposed to do in regards to serving the people, in regards to being a servant. And I think that boils down to a lot of the foolishness that goes on when we see people who go into their shrines to try to hurt or try to, you know what I'm saying, diminish the qualities or the quality of life or the opportunities for other people. And it's like, what are you going to get out of you personally trying to stop somebody else from whatever it is that they do, you know, with their gift, or whatever it is that they do with their path, or whatever it is they do with their career or their business or whatever. But it's like it goes back to the old I feel like the old house Negro, you know what I'm saying, Uncle Tom type thing. It's like the collaborator type thing. It's like I don't want to see another nigga do better than me, so I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure that that doesn't happen. And it's
Right.
sad because we see it like you were saying with the young people, but I'm seeing old people, I'm seeing elders doing this bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's like, damn, you too. But you know what I'm saying? So it's like you supposed to be the one who's setting the example. You supposed to be the one who's laying the blueprint. You supposed to be the one who's sharing and teaching the strategy for us to elevate and get beyond, you know, where we are. But you still doing that same foolishness. So yeah, I could tell like it's all programming, it's all strategies of war. What we're talking about in terms, especially with the young people, because of the influence of the entertainment, the influence
Hmm.
of the music, the influence of social media, all these different elements play a role into why we're seeing what we're seeing. But
Right.
what are the true so-called freedom fighters doing? What are the true revolutionaries doing? What are the true healers doing? What are the true,
Right.
the real true priests and priestesses, shamans and seers and visionaries? What are you doing to bring
Yeah.
forth the light and the ashe of the ancestors and this transformation that the planet is on par?
You know what's crazy is because I'm very big on elders, and I never would disrespect them, but elders can be checked too. Don't get it confused. Because I'll tell the elder in a minute, come on now, you're not right. You need to set an example for me. You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm not disrespecting them, but I'm telling them. Because
Yeah.
you know what they say, out of the mouths of babies come wisdom. So at the end of the day, yes, some of these elders could be checked too. But we have to understand that also there's such a brainwashing program and mechanism in Africans in America. Okay? Now, to me, that's a little part of an excuse, right? A little bit. I'm gonna give you a little bit of excuse because we've been so brainwashed and programmed, and it has taken a hold of some people where they just don't see no other way.
Mm.
Okay, and with saying that, it's like, how do we fix that? The ones who are not, who the ones who are, I'm gonna say consciously aware, who have gained the wisdom from the elders, from the ancient information that we have learned from your great scholars, John Henry Clark, and all of them, all of those people have done their work to make sure that we're educated, we understand who we are, right? So for the ones who have that knowledge and have gained, I'm talking about our James Smalls, our Carbamine, all of our great brothers. I love them all. And they have paved the way for us to understand who we are and where we come from. Those who do take that in, they need to stand up. Because, of course, you're going to have some elders that, that are out of order. They got ego, think they know everything because they're elder. But no, that's not true. And yes, elders can be checked too. If you out of order, you out of order. You act as an elder because you have to be that role model. I don't care if it's your child or not. You be that role. If I'm not that role model for these young girls out here, then who's gonna be?
Mm.
If you're not that role model as a man and show them what a man is like, I always say, I can't teach them how to be a man, but I mean, I can teach you to find a man within yourself, right?
Mm.
But I can't teach you how to be a man, but I can teach you that. But for the most part, I expect you to do that, right? So I think that, it's going to take the elders that are righteous and conscious to talk to the ones who are not so they can get it together. Because some of them are still on that level of brainwashing and programming, control, ego. Come on now, it's not
Yeah.
about that.
Oh yeah.
We got a lot of communities to heal. Okay, so we're saying that um we got to do better though.
Yeah.
And yeah, you got that person who's jealous of this person, but get out of here with that. Cause ain't neither one of y'all got more than the other. What you got? What you got? You know what I mean?
That's the
What
thing that
you jealous because I got this over here? Let me tell y'all something. You can't take none of that stuff with you when you die.
no sir.
None of it.
Nope.
So you gonna behave. So you don't want this man to have two houses, to have some. Oh, you don't want this person to have more spiritual power than you. Come on with that.
Right.
It's ridiculous. It's disappointing because again, remember these elder. I mean, these young folks out here that's doing what they doing. They got to take care of our old behinds.
Yeah.
That's why we got to get old soon. We ain't got much. I'm gonna be 55 this month.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I make sure they understand, they respect, and they understand. So that way, when I get old, you're gonna take care of me like you're supposed to. And
That's
then I'm
right.
gonna make sure I give you the wisdom and pass that down to you as an elder to you, right? I had to give a young lady some wisdom today, right? I'm only 8 years and older, but I had to tell her you need to check yourself because
Mm.
you were doing this. You know this man is married. Now I don't say no names, but you know this man is
Right.
married. And
Right.
if he's
Right.
not finished with that, let him finish that because
Mm.
you need to make sure your blessings come in.
Mm.
So that's me giving her wisdom. I wasn't for that. You see? Now I understand why things happen. I did a reading for her. I understand you may be in love with him, he may be in love with you, and that happens because we
Mm.
get, as the Christians say, we get unevenly yoked.
Mm.
So you're becoming more spiritual, and his wife may not. So that
Mm.
means it's just time to go. Sometime the
Separate ways.
ancestors put together just to bring babies in this world. People don't realize that.
Yeah.
You ain't supposed
Oh
to
yeah.
be together forever, just to bring babies in this world,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
Yeah. Alignment of energies, energies and
that's
DNA,
right,
all for the bigger, but that's all for the greater cause. And
right,
that goes back to everything like how this all started. Like I see the young brothers in the hood, or not even just the hood, the young brothers in society alone, or that are ready to go to war, and they're warring against each other because they don't know the value of themselves. They don't know the value of
right.
their lives. They don't know the value of who and what they are and their ancestral lineage that brought them to this point. So that's where it's something that we definitely have to take, and spearhead in regards to like moving with not just integrity, but moving with empathy for the youth, or for those who are in need. Like I was saying earlier, instead of walking around puffing your chest out and boasting and bragging about ceremonies and titles, walk around and figure out how to use them pots and them tools that you were given during them ceremonies in order to like help and empower, and heal those who you went through that ceremony to serve. You know what I mean? It's like, but
Mm-hmm.
most people, I think it's their ego. They want to serve their ego, and they're also willing to sacrifice anybody else's path or journey, or experiences, or time, or whatever the case may be, in order to do that. And that's where we got to definitely make sure we eradicate them roaches, because in the new, what's coming with Mother Earth and this transformation, I know you've been getting downloads and visions,
Yep.
all that. That's not going to fly because we're elevating to a much higher frequency in regards to our
Right,
experience, on this planet. So,
right.
so what would you say to the people who are, they do have a pure heart, they do have good intentions, and they are looking to elevate with connecting to their ancestral spirits, as well as connecting to whether it's the deities or to the creator? Like, what would you share with them in order to like know that even if you're dealing with some of that, you still got access to tools or energies or entities that can kind of help you still to rise up above where you are now and get to the next level?
A lot of times you just ask your ancestors to guide your path and align you with people that's like minded, right? So the people that's like minded, that's on the same vibrational energy, get together, and then we're the ones who have to make that change, right? And we make that change by showing them, not telling them, but showing them. Okay? So people that the righteous ones, and if you're doing any type of spiritual work, I don't care what you're dealing with, make sure you keep your hands clean. Now, that don't mean you don't fight back, because you got evil people out here. Yes, you fight back, but you return the energy, right? But don't be the one that says, "Well, I'm gonna return it to kill you," because you might have somebody that's trying to do rituals to kill you. You could be just as dirty in them, but is that really in your nature? Is it really in your nature? I'm gonna just say this. My name ain't Nicky Love for nothing. Now, what's true about it, my middle name is Nicole Love. My father gave me that name, Nicole Love. I love everybody. I love the babies. I love my community. I love my people. I love my sisters. I love my brothers. So, with saying that, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to do what my ancestors brought me here to do, which is to love you all, teach you all, guide you all. You understand? Share that wisdom with you. You understand? Whether it's spiritual or not spiritual. So I don't want to hurt nobody. But do I have the power to? Who am I? And I'm not even bragging. The daughter of the Tindana, the daughter of the Iamio Saranga, the daughter of the Aj. But do I want to have to do that? No, because I love my people. I love the ground my men walk on. I love my sisters. I want to see my sisters do better. And we're saying that before I get my train of thought. Well, I was watching the show the other day on YouTube. And I was watching the young boys in different states. You know what Spirit told me? Spirit said, call every. They said, call every last one of their mothers, because there's one thing I do know. Majority of them now do have their mothers, and they love their mothers. Don't talk about their mothers. Do y'all notice that? If you talk about their mothers, they're ready to kill you. Majority of them have. So Spirit said, get every mother out on them streets, in every community. And every mother start chanting, and let me tell you, chanting down, because the mother got the power. There's a ritual that's done in Africa. If your son disrespects you, you take your shirt and you show him your breast, and it curses him, right? So that's a ritual that's done in Africa. So look, if every mother gets out in them streets, because you got to be tired of your babies dying, and you begin to chant down and call down the ancestors for them to stop the killing. Stop killing each other. Stop doing this to each other over stupid shit. Excuse my language, y'all. Stupid shit. Words. Y'all killing each other over words. And mothers are hurting, but the mothers need to stop sitting back and hurting. The mothers need to get out on them streets. Because if there's one thing a young man will tell you, he love his mother. Don't mess with my mother. Now, some of them got issues. Their mother's not have been there, whatever. But for majority of them, yeah, go ahead and mess with their mother. You're going to see what's happening. Don't talk about my mama, you know what I mean? So, my suggestion is that mothers start getting out there. You got to be hurt, and enough is enough. Get out there and start chanting down, because it's the mother who has the power to change the energy of her son. Now, let's add the daddies. There's a lot of good fathers out there. Let's not get it confused.
That part.
A lot of good fathers. I know a lot of single fathers, the good fathers, because one thing I do know about black men, they just as nurturing as a black woman. Majority of them are. Okay, they love their babies. Don't get it confused. So, with saying that, the fathers need to follow the mothers. Follow the mothers. I'm going to give y'all a story, right? I was here in Atlanta. So I was working with a whole bunch of ex-football players, big football players, doing, loans and real estate with them. And I was still dealing with the young boys. I had the community young boys. I started a community basketball team, because down here in Georgia, they didn't have no sectors like we had in New York. You got all that free stuff and everything. So I started a subdivision basketball team with the young boys. So they loved me. They was crazy about me. And I remember I told the brothers, because, they were still out there, some of them getting in trouble and stuff like that. I said, I needed a few of y'all big ex-football players to come and help me with this. I ain't messing with them young boys. They carry guns. I said, really? Because I had about 5 guns in my house. Right? And I'm not exaggerating. I had about 5 guns in my house. I said, I got a gun too. I said, but y'all are men. So if y'all go out there and y'all let them know, hey, ain't no more killing. We ain't doing none of this, right? Well, I gotta worry about my kids, but they're your kids too. So I said, let's get a bus. I gotta go into the communities and start talking to these kids. Well, they got guns. I said it don't matter. I said we'll be like the Wild Wild West. Let's get it. I'm sure they ain't got bigger guns than us, and on top of that, we military trained. Some of us was. You know them. I'm gonna say Negroes would not come out and try to help the young men in the community. I was disappointed. I was disappointed. Now here comes little old me. If I can get 20 boys together, excuse me, and start a subdivision basketball team. Another thing I did with them, because they was fighting. Two of them was fighting one day. So I went up and said, "What y'all fighting about?" I said, "Y'all want to fight for real?" I went to Walmart and I bought boxing gloves to them. I asked their parents' permission first. I said, "Since these young boys want to fight, we're gonna teach them how to fight for real." So they love that. And then it was like it was a sport to them. Then they have fun. Right? I said, no, y'all want to box? We're going to box the way we used to do it. We're going to get some gloves. But not near one brother in the community came to assist me. And when I tell you, and I'm not exaggerating, I'm going to keep saying this because I'm not exaggerating. Y'all can find out, y'all can talk to people, y'all will hear about my history. 10 of them young boys end up being something. As a matter of fact, Waka Flocka was one of them that was in my house.
I sure.
One of them. You see who he is now, right? And I would say the rest of them went on, got their families doing well, living. They didn't get in trouble. They was doing good, except for one, we lost him. And it hurt my heart because I tried to save him, but I couldn't get him too quick enough. And he died. But anyway, but out of the 20 of them, 10 of them was doing good. But not near one brother in the community would step up to the place and say, well, let me assist this sister. You see? And it made me angry. And that was back when I first came to Georgia. That was in 2003, 4.
You know, when you say that, like that resonates with me on multiple levels, right? Because one, I do similar work right now. Like right now as we speak, I do, some of the same work that you talk about. And it's like, for me, I was actually driven to that opportunity, kind of like a firefighter, because I saw like what you're talking about right now. I saw that happening. And what's crazy is like, I know like how I grew up and how I was moving when I was a teenager. Like I was one of them ones out there, you know what I'm saying? Like I was out there, but I was blessed to be able to have the guidance of elders, the blessings of the ancestors, and knowing how to like listen to those internal, communications, whether it was like telepathic text or whatever, just those feelings of knowing that something or someone is communicating with me and what they're saying, I know is right. And I know that's something that's going to guide me to, the right path. But it's like at the same time, honestly, it infuriates me a little bit because doing that same work right now in present day and knowing how many brothers say that they bout this, they bout that, but, I only have maybe about a good handful that show up, what I'm saying, for me in the same capacity that you talking about, right? And that's cool. It's not cool because I feel like more should, but I'm grateful for the ones that do, you know what I mean? But at the same time, now I'm looking at, okay, so why are these other brothers not stepping up? Why are these other brothers not showing up? Are you scared? Are you intimidated? Or, you know what I'm saying? I'm being real now too. Like I'm being real because at the end of the day, I look at it like I've seen the young brother Ibatinu, I think his name was Julio Fulio. I'll never forget. It was like about a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago or so. He got murdered here in Tampa. And it was right by USF, and I knew exactly where that was at. And I saw, the news. I never heard of the young brother before that happened. But then when that happened, because it was right in my backyard, it struck something in me. And it bothered me because I'm like, yo, I didn't know it was that crazy out there. You know what I mean? Like you was already in that, environment, so you knew. I didn't know because I was removed from the environment, for the last 20 plus years. But to see it and hear the news, and then I kind of tapped into it, did a little research or whatever. They came from Jacksonville. There was some beef that was going on up there with other young brothers. I guess what some people would coin the YNs. But at the same time, it bothers me because they're babies and they got the potential to be kings. You know what I'm saying? You are King Tut. You are, Tutmos. You are, you know what I'm saying? You are these royal, you know what I'm saying, embodiments of our existence, but we don't know that because they don't have nobody to show them that. And that's the part that struck a chord in me and bothered me. So now to have the opportunity in real time to work with those same brothers, I jumped in, like I said, like a firefighter, because I'm like, yo, I need to get to these brothers. Like, I need to do whatever I can. If I could do anything, I don't know if I'm going to, but I'm damn
Right.
sure going to get out there and try, because I know those are the Jean Dessalines. Those are the Toussaint Louvertures. Those are the Dutty Bookmans. Those are, you know what I'm saying, the Geronimo Pratts. Those are the Amurus. Like, those are the warriors and the chiefs. And, you know what I'm saying, like, those are the ones we need. So it's like
Right.
we can't allow them looking at each other as the op or the enemy, like not giving them
Right.
the guidance and, you know what I'm saying, showing them the love that they deserve, that they should get, letting them know who and what they are, so they can at least have the opportunity to live up to their potential in order to, you know what I'm saying, manifest and to be what they came to the planet to be. And that's
Right.
where I feel like those of our age and our generation, especially the brothers, like we got to step up, man. We got to really step up and tighten up, because we got to look at from like 2, 3, 4+ generations prior to us, how many strategies and how many plans and like situations that were, or I should say, circumstances that were put into play for us not to have these opportunities to even be here today. You know what I mean? So that's where we got to really step up and tighten up.
Well, what's crazy is that's where that other brainwashing program and mechanism comes in.
Mm,
And what we have to realize is that some of this was a learned behavior. And what
mm,
I used to tell people, just like you see old gangster movies back in the day, when you had the Italians that had their mobs, and you would watch these movies, I remember my nephew that I raised, I caught him watching Scarface. I said, you better take that SH out of my house. All right, you ain't gonna watch this. And I'm like, what the hell? Because I was here, and I'm thinking he's watching something else. He's watching, now you're gonna be like a gangster. So you got to remember, the first image of gangster they seen was back in the day, the Italians on TV, right? And then you have to remember all the gangs that we have now. You got Larry Hoover, but it was all positive first before they turned it into negative, right? Then we got the Black Panthers. You know, I actually used to have a conversation with Brother Muhammad, the head of the new Black Panthers now, and I remember he he called me Black Panther. He called me down to Florida to go march and journey with the with that Trayvon Martin case. And I was like, no, brother, I don't want no part of it. I'll call down the ancestors to walk with y'all. We need that too. Come on down, Nicky Love. Nope, I'm not coming. You know why? Because we shouldn't just get together when something like that happens.
yep.
We need to be out there. Y'all need to be active. I remember in New York they had the what was it called? The Reverration, something like that. It was the something angels, and they
Mm,
would be on the train station. I remember because I used to work at night, and when I would be working at night, they would be on the train, so I felt protected. It was
mm,
like if anybody messed with me, they was coming after them.
mm,
Yeah, they was real powerful in New York, and I loved it because they took care of the community.
mm,
They're not there no more, but we
yeah,
need something like that, and we need the youth to know that we're here for you. You understand? We got you. Y'all just gotta listen too.
yeah.
And
Oh,
they gotta understand y'all have been programmed and brainwashed.
yep.
Where the first guns you see? Where they getting the guns from?
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
understand? What's the first guns they see on TV? Cowboy movies, shooting each other when y'all little boys, y'all playing cowboy, and you understand?
yeah, yeah. Subliminal seduction. It's,
Correct.
subconscious programming. That's what it is.
Correct. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the part I was talking about. Now we got to get them DDR. As I say, delete, deprogram, delete, and reprogram their
Mm,
minds.
I like that.
And
Can you
what
say
people
that?
don't
Can you say that one
understand,
more time? I like that. Can you
oh,
say that again? Cause
we
that.
got to get them DDR. We have to delete. Excuse me, deprogram, delete, and reprogram. So that's deprogram, delete, and reprogram.
I say.
So, but let me tell y'all what's even deeper with that. You see all those people that do spiritual work, talking to our ancestors, going to the shrines, right? Sometimes they don't want to listen. So when they don't want to listen, what do y'all think we should do? You don't want to listen? I tell people all the time, like my grandkids and stuff, you want to listen? Okay, I'm going to the ancestors on you.
They don't like that.
They don't like that. They get scared. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You know what I mean? I'm telling the ancestors on you. Right? So I'm just saying, if all of us, we know there's a certain brainwashing mechanism and programming that they've done to our youth. So let's take our youth back. So now we got communities everywhere that people are dealing with Ifa, Palo, Voodoo, whatever. Go to them shrines. Rise up, ancestors.
Mm.
Rise up, Sango.
Rise
Rise up, Ogun.
Yeah.
Rise up, Amariaho. Rise up, Olakun. I gotta stop talking loud, y'all, because I got all this fun. But anyway, so when we go to these shrines and we begin to call on them and chant down our ancestors, rise, save our youth, guide our youth, open their minds to see who they are. Don't y'all think it'll make a difference? We so busy using the damn shrines, everything else. Use it for that.
That part.
Use it for that, because at the end of the day, we're looking at some soldiers, y'all. These kids are soldiers. I studied them. I studied the youth. And one of the things I learned about dealing with the youth and why they love me, and I'm not even bragging, they love me. The Bloods, the Crips. I was helping the Bloods, the Crips, the GDs, all of them. They was coming to me. You know why they love me? Because I would talk with them. I wouldn't talk at them. What you doing out here? And they used to say, how you talking to them like that and they don't know you're a police? I said, because I don't talk to them like that. I said, these youth are very smart. They're very intelligent. So I talk with them. Why you and I would get away with pull up your pants. I don't know the boy, but he looked like, okay, yes, ma'am. You see? Because when I represented myself to them, I represented as a queen mother to them. Look at me like a queen, because I'm going to tell you like this. I may not be your mother, but I'm going to make sure I protect you if I can. Whether it's doing spiritual work, whether it's keeping you protected from the streets. So you got to know they're going to give me that respect. Right? So with saying that, we have to find another way. And that way is go to them shrines, y'all. Every community. And not only that, mothers, get your behinds out in them streets and start chanting down the ancestors. Chant them down. Save our sons, because they're all your sons. Because I know there's so many mothers that cry at night, missing their babies. So you know what? We're going to solve that. Knock on that door, knock on that door, knock on that. Let's go. Let's go. I've done, I would say, at least 20 ancestral readings of mothers who lost their sons. And it's sad. All right, my sisters, get your behinds out there. Go out there barefooted at that, barefooted. And go and chant down the ancestors. And you call every forces of nature, air, water, fire. You can call Oya, you can call Amadiahu, you can call all the forces together. And you plead with them to save our babies in the community. Stop them from killing each other. And I'm telling y'all, it's the mother energy that's needed right now. Years ago, we used to do a show, The Divine Feminine Energy is Rising. It happened about 6 years ago. I told everybody then, the Divine Feminine Energy is rising. It has to bring the balance back, because we under a patriarchal system that's nothing but chaos.
I say.
So now we got to come back. Right? Right? Who are we? So now the energy has come back for the woman to step up the plate. And not to be over men, but to balance out this patriarchal system that has caused nothing but chaos. That has caused our babies to be the way they are. That has caused them to die. You understand? We have to bring that energy back. So it's going to be the mothers who's going to have to step out there. And again, y'all, if you're in a community and you got sisters, call them out there barefooted. Put your feet to the ground. Y'all remember the Michael Jackson's The Earth song? Plead with the ancestors. If you got to pull the dirt like that video, do it. And I guarantee you all, that's what's going to save our babies. All that's going to stop. But it's going to take the mother's energy, the divine feminine energy, And especially of sisters. I'm not saying white women, I'm not racist or nothing like that, but especially a black woman. And we got some very powerful spiritual black women. You understand? Got some very powerful spiritual black women, even in the church. Don't get it confused. But they say most of the witches is in the church, right?
Mm.
So we're saying that get the women together. We can call on, you can call on the Christians, we can call on the Apollo priests, we can call the priestess, we can call on the Ian, we can call on all of us and get down there barefooted and start chanting. Watch how energy moves amongst this earth.
Woo! Yes, sir. Listen, I don't even really want to say no more after that because when I tell you, like you literally just gave like a highlight of the live I did, the solo joint I did last night, and we talked about a lot of stuff, but one of the key points that I feel like resonated the most with everybody who was on was the fact about the cycles and like the transitioning out of the cycles, going from the Piscean age into the Aquarian age, going from a lunar cycle, a patriarchal bullshit system, saying, into the solar cycle, the feminine energy with the balance of the ma'at, the balance
Uh-huh.
of bringing the odu, or E5, or the balance of, adding the mothers of the Aj, the feminine aspects of the Necharu, all that boils down to ma'at and
That's
Iwa
right.
Pule and the balance. And that is being under the guidance and the love and the cultivation of the mother, the feminine energy. And I can't wait to dive into tomorrow's show too, because we're going to talk about the balance of not just the energies, but also the sovereignty of the mothers, the feminine energy.
That's
Because
right.
even when we go to Ma'at, and when we talked about Kemet, you know, like Ma'at and our
I
set,
said, mhm.
what they call ISIS, but offset, like those are like
Right.
two of the most powerful forces in the Kemetic culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like no disrespect to none of the other deities because every one of them are powerful in their own right, but we have to honor the feminine aspects of our creation, whether we're
That's
talking
right.
about the deities, the ancestors, the planet, the cosmos. It doesn't matter. We're talking about that energy, that entity, that divine,
That's
creator that
them.
brings forth life in every
That's right.
aspect. So to me, no, I'm going to respectfully say I'm putting y'all above us because I'm always going to do that because I'm not here if it's not for you first. Period.
Right.
And
Right.
neither is nobody else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Especially for the men. Y'all didn't need us to create us. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Like,
We
we
have
needed y'all to create us.
parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis. That's
There
right.
you go. So I'm gonna say that. No, yeah, I mean I get it and I appreciate it, but no, the help for me personally, I'm always putting the mothers above, and I'm always putting them higher because I know how they have affected my life. I'm not who I am without the love and the prayers and the protection of my mothers. You know what I'm saying? My grandmothers, my great grandmothers, and all the feminine energies that have played
Energy.
a role in my life. I am not who and what I am if it's not for them, and I honor that and reverence that with
That's
everything
right.
I got because I know how powerful it is. And I feel like that's where I'm giving thanks for the alignment with even us, like with
Right.
Lawyer, introducing us, and then me meeting you, and me and Baba. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a
Mm-hmm.
divine
Mm-hmm.
connection that I
Mm-hmm.
give thanks
Mm-hmm.
for because I
Mm-hmm.
know I don't get the blessing of having that connection if I don't have the reverence for the feminine energy the way that I do.
Right.
So it's like
Right.
I give thanks for that as well, and we definitely gotta do better, and I feel like we are, but we just
Mm-hmm.
got a lot more work to do that we gotta really like tighten up and really, make it happen.
That's true. Very true. And also with our sisters, some of our sisters don't know who they are.
Mm,
So they have to know who they are too, because they
mm,
don't know. Because some of them have been under patriarchal. You have some of our Muslim sisters, some of our sisters that, just like in certain tribes in Africa, they make it like it's the man, but it's really the woman. You understand? So with not knowing that, they still have to be taught too. They have to be educated too. Well, let's come back to Africans in America. Some of these women have had a job done in them. They have been brainwashed. Some of them have been, brainwashed to no avail. Um, our sisters need healing too. And they need to know who they are. They need to know that divine feminine energy, who they are, where they come from, and what they have created. So once we begin to educate them as well, a lot more of them will stand up and know who they are and take their rightful positions, right? Our brothers, of course, you come out of a woman's vagina. You don't come out of no man's. I mean, we used to argue back in the day about that. Some of the brothers, they used to argue with me. I don't give a goddamn what you say. You come out of a woman's vagina. So at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, you have to understand because I had one of the Hebrew like brothers try to argue with me about that. whatever they call them, Hebrew Israelite brothers. And
Yeah,
I told him, you better bow down and kiss my feet. That's what you do.
that
Would you
part.
kiss your? He said no. He said, he
That
said,
part.
he said no. I didn't do that to my mother. I said yeah. I said, well, you lucky you ain't my son. That's because if you was my son, your black behind would be going back in my vagina just like that. And I told him, I said, you need to respect your mother. You ain't over your mother. Right, so you got some brothers like that, but the truth of the matter, they got to be educated, and that's that programming, programming mechanism. It's okay to talk to, I say, black woman in this, a black woman in that. That's what we have to work on getting them. You understand the right knowledge,
Yeah,
taking them back to Kemet.
and that energy right there, I feel like that's an energy of possession. Like that's an energy of being possessed with that patriarchal, mindset of the Western cultural civilization, or those who were above the Western cultural, systemic, that the weapon of mass destruction that we call religion. You know what I mean? That originated in the Vatican, that originated from the Canaanites, that originated from the cave. Europoids or Europeans, whatever you want to call them. Those Africans who were of African descent who got caught up in the Caucasus Mountains and who were in there, who went through those ice ages, who had to depigmentate themselves in order to survive, and then they came back out causing mayhem and ruckus all over the planet. So we're talking about those particular people when we're talking about that, and then we're talking about that ideology, that psychology, and we're talking about that philosophy that has then, like I feel like attacked our brothers like parasites, like worms, like like it's got all into their psyche or their mental, physical, spiritual, emotional makeup. But it has to be kind of like we got to figure out a way to get that out of there. You know what I'm saying? Because if not,
Original, and you know how we get it out? Original spirituality.
mm,
What's original spirituality? Not Christianity, not Islam. You understand? Not Catholicism. Back to the African traditions,
yep,
right? Because when you go to the ancestors, especially the ancestors, ask them ancestors to show you. They're gonna show you who you are and where you came from. And not just our present day ancestors, our ancient ancestors. Because I talk to the ancient ones all the time. I talk to them all the time. They're the ones who told me that there was blue water under the pyramids and how they travel and how Atlanta has Atlantis under there. They told me that. So ancient ancestors too. So we got to go back to the original spirituality of the original, original religion, right?
yeah, yeah. No,
So,
that's real.
so that's see now, and I'm gonna just give you a little bit of this because when I was doing radio, I was the first one to bring consciousness to the radio. I was the one bringing all them brothers out.
Yeah,
Umar Johnson's, James Smalls, Steve Coakley, all of them was on the Nicky Love show.
mm, I should.
Bobby Hammond, all of them. Ranuki Rashidi.
Dr.
Who
Blair,
else?
one of my
Dr.
favorites.
Blair. We had a show called Creations of Nature. So with saying that, I was the one who the ancestors said, here, uplift my brothers. And I was proud, y'all.
I
I
know.
loved the ground. I was happy. I was happy they was teaching until the ancestors showed me something different. Till the ancestors said, look here, they ain't doing right by the sisters. And when I start saying, hey, hold on, wait a minute. Not all of them now. Don't get it confused. Our elders were good. Leonard
Yeah,
Jeffries, James Small, they were good. Them younger ones. What y'all doing? Here I've made a platform for y'all to uplift and teach the people. Of course, y'all role models for Chicago. Y'all role models for the brothers in London, because I used to have this show in London. They used to listen to it in London. I said, y'all role models for everybody, and y'all doing stuff like that. So, with saying that, our brothers have laid the blueprint. We have to give them credit where credit's due. They're the ones who was coming and educating. You had your John Henry Clarks, your Chancellor Williams. You had, who else?
Dr.
Huh?
Ben, John G.
Dr. Ben, right?
Yeah,
All of them that
yeah,
laid the footwork for you all to know who you are,
yeah.
right? But when they started doing stuff like disrespecting the feminine energy, then I had to flip it around. I went to the ancestors. The ancestors started teaching about the ancestors. start teaching them about start teaching them about who they are and where they come from, the spiritual aspect now.
I sure.
Because our elders, the John Henry Clarks, the Dr. Ben, all of them, they laid the footprint knowing the history. We used to have a show called the Black Civilization. The book, we did the book by Chancellor Williams, so we would talk about the book on there, teaching them. But the brothers opened the door for us to know the history, right? They didn't touch Excuse me, y'all, I'm getting hot in there. They didn't touch too much of the um spiritual side of it. So when all of that happened, ancestors said, you start teaching them about their ancestors.
Mm.
And that's when I just took it. I took the show totally left. We switched it around, nothing but spirituality. Dr.
Mm.
Blair, we had a show again called Creations of Nature. He would we now no, that was Dr. Endow, Creations of Nature. Me and Dr. Blair had the Fifth Dimension show. We talked about the aliens, the planets, and all that. Then we had Dr. Quaker Wandell, who taught us about, he was from Ghana, y'all. He used to do trips back in Ghana, take everybody to Ghana to learn herbs and stuff like that. So we had our show called Creations of Nature. So I started going straight on the spiritual path
Mm.
because it was time for our brothers to understand. Y'all know the history. Y'all teaching it, but y'all ain't walking it.
Mm.
You can
That.
talk the talk all day long. Y'all talking about Kemet. Y'all talking about Black Africa. Y'all talk about this, calling out black power this. But are y'all living it? And when I tell y'all, I did a show and got on their behinds and told them, look here, I didn't come in this arena or media to allow y'all to disrespect the feminine energy. I opened this media for y'all to be able to educate them on the history of our African history. You understand? We did a lot of shows. So I got on their behinds. I said, y'all walking around here talking the talk like y'all these great scholars. And this was a lot of them that was on there doing their shows. I said, but y'all ain't walking the walk, and I don't like it. I said, just like that. I don't like it because I was the one who uplifted y'all. And y'all opened the door for y'all to teach all these young brothers from Chicago all the way to Detroit and London. But y'all walk around here disrespecting the women? No, that's not cool. You can't tell me you conscious and you disrespecting the feminine energy. Because that ain't in no text of John Henry Clark or Dr. Ben. So with saying that, I cut it all down. And I went to the ancestors and said, go teach about the traditions now. And that's what I start doing. Before they was making fun of me because I was talking about hugging a tree. Now everybody's down that damn talking about hugging a tree. They thought it was funny. Oh yeah, she's crazy talking about hugging a tree. But now you hugging trees and you talking about it on your show. I created a product, and the ancient ones gave me this called Sirius D, and it was white powder gold. And you know, in ancient Kemet, it was called mufets. I can't say it like I used to, but mufets. And they found it in the tombs of ancient Kemet. So when I got it, there was a brother up in Arizona, a white man that used to create it. He said it'll be more powerful if it's created by melanin hands. So when I got it in my hands, ancient ancestors, this is Kemetic ancestors, y'all said, I want you to play a frequency over this Sirius D. I said, what? I said, okay. So I got the powder, and you know, you have to alchemically make it, right? So when I got the powder, I mixed it with some other stuff. I can't tell y'all my secret because the ancients gave it to me. But I played a certain frequency over it, and it was powerful. That was one of my best selling products called Sirius D. And what it did, it made you feel like you can open your whole brain, sort of like your DNA. All you was using all your DNA. And that also I use to help people come into their spiritual sides. Okay? But when I tell y'all that I took it totally left, I started teaching about the traditions, you know, being more spiritual. Now all of a sudden everybody's following the footprints. And I brought that Sirius D up because one of the people, I don't mention no names, copied me and wanted to sell a liquid form of it.
They did sell it.
They did sell it, a liquid form in it, but they didn't know that mine came from spirit. And that spirit told me to play his frequency. I would have to take the powder and I would play the frequency over the powder. Right? But I'm saying that again too because they was talking junk back then. But now everybody's spiritual. Everybody's into Ifa. Everybody's into crystals. Everybody's into, oh, I'm so spiritual. I'm meditating. You know, everybody's into it now, but they was talking junk. But ancestors told me I had to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's real. It's funny because that really falls into alignment with the conversation me and Baba was having earlier today in regards to a lot of this like same content. For me personally, that it's like two or three more questions I would love to ask,
Okay.
if we have time, because like everything that you just said really resonates with me on a multitude of levels. So like for example, like I've been doing, last night was probably like maybe the second or third solo show I ever did on the channel so far, but I got to do more because my thing is different from everybody else's thing. You know what I'm saying? But this whole thing about Ashe was never about me. Like spirit spoke to me and told me like this needs to happen, and you're the one that's gonna do it, and your ass better do it. And I'll never forget it. It happened in the shower. I'll never forget it. Like I was already preparing to do something like this, but kind of like what you said, like when the ancestors speak, like you know what I'm saying, those who are blessed to have the ability to hear or the access to that level of I guess reception or receptivity, whatever you want to call it. And it
Mm-hmm.
was like, yo, I'll never forget it, man, because I had already was trying to start to prepare, the content and all that. But it was one day in the shower, they was like, you better get this thing going, you better get it going now. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, okay. And I just went. But I say
Uh-huh.
all that to say that we all have our own gifts, we all have our own path, but I feel like a lot of us, we're too, I think, heavily influenced or maybe even like coerced into caring about what other people think about us. You know what I'm saying? So I remember when I first started social media, it was like 20, I don't remember the year, but it was like maybe 2013, 2014, I can't remember. But anyway, excuse me, whatever year it was, I never wanted to do it because I already knew what was coming. I knew what this was about. It's all about mind control and time control and manipulation. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, I didn't want no parts of it. So everybody else was doing it. I didn't want nothing to do with it. But it goes back to what you were saying about kind of like being on the opposite side of that. Like the ones who have the vision and the gift to be able to like lead the flock or be that shepherd, you know what I'm saying, to tend to the
Mm-hmm.
sheep, right? We
Mm-hmm.
always look like aliens. We always look like outcasts. We always look like we crazy, like supposed to be in an asylum. But we know what we're doing. We know who we're listening to. We know who we're connected to. We know what we're being guided by, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
never cared. So for me, I literally thought it was funny to like share and post content about ships, about crafts, about Kemet, about Tut, about you know what I'm saying, Akhenaten, about like I thought it was funny because I just knew nobody would want no parts of it. And sure enough, I would post it and it got no engagement, no reaction whatsoever. And I didn't post it for that. I posted it because I thought social media was funny to me because it's like people are gonna really start to live their life in a hologram, in a virtual reality, which we already kind of like in that on the planet as its own. But we're talking about with social media, it's even like another layer of it. So it's like we're like
Mm-hmm.
two phases into the virtual
Mm-hmm.
reality. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like, okay, but I would do it because I knew it was on my spirit. I knew it was on my heart. And I know who taught me. You know what I mean? So like now, hindsight, we fast forward to last night. I can't wait to share some of that same content that I screenshotted that got receipts for because it got no engagement whatsoever. But that's because
Really?
everybody wasn't ready yet. And I'm not saying that I'm better or more advanced or any of that, but I
Right.
also know I just wasn't afraid to be guided and to listen to, what I'm saying, what was guiding me. So I feel like that's where us as a people, we definitely got to do a lot better, especially those who have the gift and who has the ability to do so, but they're more concerned about that shine or that ego or that wanting to be personified as this or that or whatever, you know what I'm saying, whatever the case may be. So earlier you were talking about the power of the mothers and then also about how it matters if they are in kind of like alignment with doing the right thing. So how can we get people to see the significance in not just doing the right thing, but also the repercussions of the lack of manifestation or the lack of, opportunities or the lack of things going in the right direction based upon what could be self sabotage by not acting with the right, you know what I'm saying, intentions
Mm-hmm.
or the right energy when putting forth whatever the efforts is for whatever that we're trying to accomplish.
Doing what we're doing now.
Hmm.
Educating on the masses because they gave us the best thing we can have, which is YouTube.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, living like that. You
That's
see,
right.
um, I think if more of us sisters show and live like that, then other sisters will follow. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of that eagerness, that goes on in the community too, with women too. Okay, so I think the most important thing is continuing shows like this and then continuing being that role model, being that example for the people. Because if there's enough of us that's out there doing it, they're gonna start following suit. I don't choose to be chaotic. I don't choose to be non-peaceful. I want you to have a prosperous day when you wake up. I want you to have a peaceful, harmonious life. I want you to be, you know what, as good as I want to be. You understand? Start putting more of that love energy out, right? And mean what you say and say what you mean. I'm just not talking. I had to tell one of my young sisters, I said, you just meeting me. I said, but you'll see. I said, if I like you, I like you. And if I'm going to be that role model for, I'm going to be that role model. So I'm going to check on you like I'm your mother. So you better count me as your other mother, because that's what I do. Because I love you, because you're a young lady and you need that guidance. And sometimes the mothers don't give it. I can be there for you as that second mother. So if I'm showing that type of energy, then that passes down. Because now they have an example. I tell people I had 3 mothers. My mother that I was born to, my grandmother, which my mother was born to, and my godmother, not godmother in the sense of Ifa. My godmother that literally took me and said, I'm going to make this my godchild. I love her. And when I tell you I had love from 3 different women, I was blessed. I learned things from all 3 women, very powerful women. Right? Very powerful women. I was blessed to have 3 women. Boy, I miss them all. Because when I was going through it, I would call each. I had a blessing of being able to call each one of them. If my mother didn't answer, my grandmother didn't answer, I was calling my godmother. And I say 3 months, and until this day, she wasn't my blood, but she's right next to my mother and grandmother on my ancestral altar. Because she played a significant role in raising me. And she had 7 kids, and I was the 8th one. And she didn't treat me no different than her children. No different. And that's why I can say to this day, I got the same energy. My mother, she took everybody in too. She was the mother of everybody. They used to call her Ma. Same energy. So I had these women in my path to show me how to be this way. So it's very important through shows, through being it. Don't just talk about it. Be about it, like they say. Walk it. I got a problem with people just talking. Stop talking and walk it. Because that's what we do. And we just talk. Ain't talking about nothing. Start walking it. Start being examples to these babies out here. Start being examples to the other spiritual communities. And I mean by that, if you're doing what's righteous, and they see that you're doing what's righteous and you're acting as the elders you're supposed to be, then guess what? Some of them may follow suit. Because what's going to happen is as we're doing what we're supposed to do by the ancestors, by the guidance of the ancestors, and even with all our Reeses and Deers and gods we deal with, we're going to stay blessed. They're going to want what we got. Well, how they got this over here? How we got that farm over there to grow food so we can make sure we feed the community? How we got that village to make sure we spiritually cleanse, that young girl who's been through some molestation? How they got that? They're going to start looking at that. Now you're going to have the few select that are trying to sabotage it. But you got to worry about them because the ancestors are going to snatch them out of here like this. Don't say I didn't tell you so. They're going to start snatching them out here like this. You don't want to do what's right? You don't want to come back to what we are supposed to do, which is taking care of the community, making sure we do right? Guess what? You got to go. They're going to start destroying and destructing some of these organizations that are doing unrighteous spiritual work. Y'all will see.
Man, that's so real. Well, not just that, but even like people, like regular people. Like I've been sharing with people. Like, I mean, I've been adamant about this, like what you just said for like maybe the last 1.5, 2 years, because I remember getting a download and I'll never forget it. Where I was like, okay, it's go time. Boy, they're here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this is it. This the creme de la creme. This is it. It's so funny. I was just saying this other night. I was like, yo, this time that we're in right now, this is the Super Bowl of the solar system. Like for real, because it's like this is what this is. This is all the times from all the books, from all the texts, all those things that were talked about the end of things as we know it. We're living it right now. This is it. Like there's no different, you know what I'm saying, like aspect of this experience. And it's like I've been sharing with people, like this is the 3rd dimension where like literally the world is really in the 5th dimension. And we just like kind of like lagging along, seeing like the third dimension energies, entities, and all that bullshit is falling off and it's gone. It's out of here. And it's like you got to be in alignment with like at least good heart, good intentions, and trying to have Iwa Pele and trying to do the right thing. Because if you out there doing anything other than that, it's a wrap. And there ain't no empathy, sympathy, no nothing. They're here to let everybody know this is what it is, and you better either get on or get gone, because that's the only two options that's out there.
So wait, let me just say this. You said we're in the fifth dimension, but some of us in the sixth and the seventh dimension.
Yes, sir.
Some of us in the sixth and seventh dimension. You gotta say that because we had fifth dimension back when Dr. Blair was alive. We was doing fifth dimension back in 2012. So we are going to the sixth and seventh. So the spiritual ones, some of y'all are up in that sixth and seventh dimension already. Right? I'm telling y'all ain't seen nothing yet. I ain't seen nothing yet. And now, let me ask you a question. You said they're here. Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the ancestors and all. Okay, I'm talking about. Nah, you know what? Because shout out to Donna. I think she put a comment up recently saying she appreciated us being real. The guys are here, man. I'm talking about Anu. I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying, like the Anunnaki. I'm talking about the Elohim. I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying, like the Dogon. I'm talking about the Nomos. I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying, the Syrians. I'm talking about the inner earth advanced beings. I'm talking about the beings from Agartha. I'm talking about the beings from Shambhala. I'm talking about the Atlanteans. I'm talking about the Lemurians. I'm talking about the creme de la creme of who that is, that what that is, that always was, always is, always will be, of intelligence, of knowledge, of wisdom, understanding, overstanding, outerstanding, understanding the divine universal prime creator. I'm talking about that type of energy. They here now.
That's right. That's right. But that might be that might be a little bit beyond some people's comprehension, but it's real. It's real, and he tells the truth, y'all, because they've been here. See, people don't know they've been here. And you know it's funny because I thought we was going to get more into the aliens because I got a chant for the Lumerians, for those who want to call in the Lumerians to be surrounded by you, that I'll share before we go. But there's other beings here. There's a lot of beings here already. Yeah. Yeah. They've come in from other dimensions too. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. They're all here. Especially the ancient ones. They've been watching. And they're watching how humanity is dealing. And they're also helping to reactivate our DNA. Reactivate. Now I'm gonna say it again, reactivate, because years ago they used to try to say, well, no, they activate. I said, no. At one time, in one age, we used all of our DNA. So we are becoming more lighter beings. So what's happening is, and this is what the ancients showed me, is that the DNA is reactivating every two strands of reactivating every 2 years. So you are being given more information as your DNA reactivates. So slowly but surely. But when you fully reactivate, which might not be in our lifetime here, you're going to be more of a lighter being. And I'm going to share this with you. The ancients showed me this other day, especially the ancient Kemetic priests and priestesses, that when they come from other planetary systems, they travel, they go over all different planetary systems. Their souls, of course, as we know, our souls don't ever die. Well, they're able to occupy anything they want to. They can occupy an object if they want to. Right? So what they do is they take on these bodies. So when you see the pharaohs and you got all their sarcophagus that they show you, that's them coming back into those bodies. And then they're bringing them alive. So they are responsible. Now the Sphinx, or the original name being Haramakhet, which is a woman, not a man. The Sphinx is a woman. Is the overseer of the earth. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all can marinate on that for a minute.
Nope. Listen, if you got time, I got time.
Metaphysics, because the Sphinx is the one who watches us.
If you got time, I got time. Because I'm telling you, like the alignment is truly divine. I just talked about it last night. Like I was talking about that. We went into the Sphinx. We went into Kemet. We went into the pyramids. We went into a lot of that. And like that's the thing. Like that's the power and the significance of what we're dealing with. Like I know it, you know it, but and like you said, and I hope that I didn't go over people's head, but I'm gonna damn sure make it a point to kind of like break it all down, in a presentation format because I'm already working on that anyways. But it's like you look at somebody just put in the chat, and that's real. There's a connection. There's an intergalactical connection between Earth, Jupiter, Mars, Sirius. I forgot the other ones I named earlier, but the Anu. You know what I'm saying? All that. It's all divine alignment from the astrological plane of existence to saying even down to the physical plane of existence to the spiritual plane of it's all elements and all phases of creation and existence. You have certain levels of certain intelligence that it's really like it's an immovable force. Like there's nothing that anything can really do, you know what I mean, to like overtake it because you're talking about the creator. And so
Right.
when you talk about the Sphinx, that takes me to another show that I'm working on too, because now we're talking about we're so far into the transition between the ages, of the cycles, right? That we are in the Aquarian age of, this particular cycle. So
Right.
that is the age of Aquarius. We're talking about the water bears, we're talking about the mothers, we're talking about the balance of the feminine energy. So with the Sphinx being a feminine overseer of the planet, and then also being a gateway to the portal to the inner earth, a gateway to, the
Yep.
connection to Ma'at, the gateway to the connection to us offset, the gateway to the connection to the inner earth, to the Atlanteans, to the
Yep.
Lemurians, to the Shamba. Like we're talking
Right.
about some real deep, metaphysical information. And so shout out to Dr. Blair, shout out to Dr. York, shout out to, it's a few more created with my twilight. Like shout out to all the metaphysical teachers that I studied under because they've been teaching all us about this. And
Yep.
it was like it amazes me to see from the beginning of my journey how many things that were prophesized about that have already come to fruition. So to
Mm-hmm.
shout out to Dr. Blair because look, I got his work right here, one of his works right here in front of me because this
Mm-hmm.
is part of my research that I'm working on bringing to the tribe because so many people have never heard of some of this stuff, but they felt it, they know it, they feel it, they know that it's real. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I love about this conversation and being able to go that deep with certain entities and energies because the world needs to know what it is, and it's like this is a real thing, and this is like what's happening.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
But you know what? The thing about it is that they try to hide it. So some people have a hard time believing there's aliens, and I tell them, yeah, okay, you were alien too. You don't even know you were alien. But at the end of the day, a lot of them have been here. They are here. Let me say this: going back to the Lumerians, a lot of people don't know that the Lumerians are responsible for the crystals, and you can access information through the Lumerians, and they'll show you your soul memory. Okay, if you have the crystals, and they have to be the crystals that have cuts on them, like the real crystals, and there's a chant that you say, and then you can actually call them around you, and they will also activate your crystal, that crystal, with your soul memory. It's kind of deep, y'all, but it's interesting. But I like to say, where there's knowledge there's choice, where there's no knowledge there's no choice. So it's good, my brother, that you're doing this because they need to know. People walking around here don't even know that some people ain't human.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot of them, you think they're human, but they're not. Right? You got a couple of aliens that you think they black men, but they really come from different planetary systems.
Yeah,
You
we
heard what the
talked about
Dogon
that.
said. We come from Sirius A, we come from Sirius B, the Nomo. They're telling
Yep,
us we come from the sea, we come from the water.
yep.
So these beings are here, and you think they're human. I'm
Hmm.
gonna share this with y'all. Y'all know the sea beings. Now I am the daughter of the Aj. Now in my country of Cabo Verde, we're surrounded by 10 islands, and there's a story that goes that we were all that the women are mermaids. But what's crazy? Let me tell you what spirit showed me. They're sending my fellow sisters to me that are mer women. So I'm getting these women from the Virgin Islands. You know, they're surrounded by water, but they come from the sea, right? Spirit showed me clearly the other day, you know what? These are your sea sisters. I said, wow. They come from the water, right? They're sea beings. They're not human. They're sea beings, okay? And over in Guyana, they show me another sister. That's your sea sister. She comes from the sea. So what they're doing, and especially if you're spiritual, they're showing you. They're showing you. I already knew they came from the sea. I recognize them spiritually. You think they're human, but they're not. So that's another thing. Y'all got to start paying attention. And I see them all the time. I see certain different type of beings all the time. Walking around. If you really into the spirituality, you'll know. The ones that come from inner earth, the ones that come from different planets. A whole bunch of them, y'all. So y'all better start opening your minds. And I like to say, add to your knowledge data bank. Taking this information, because we haven't seen nothing yet. They're going to start exposing themselves. Watch, y'all see, they're going to start exposing themselves. Different beings.
I say, we here now. I have this artifact that, for the life of me, I cannot remember where it came from. It just appeared. I can't remember, like, when I had it, when I got it. I don't remember buying it. I don't remember receiving it as a gift. I don't remember anything. That's you, I should say. And so I want to share it with you, like, with the tribe and everybody watching, and see what you can get from it, because I promise, like, I have no idea how it, like, came into my possession. And I just remember when I did get it, I put it on my TV, and it's, like, traveled everywhere I've been since. I remember getting it in my very first apartment. I want to say, like, maybe 2000, 2001. And so if I share that, do you think you would be able to, like, kind of give me some sort of insight?
I'm just going to say, show me it. And I'm going to tell you why it don't matter what people believe, because I got a dwarf. I got best from ancient. I got it from Cairo. And when I got it, it still had dirt in it.
Wow.
And I ordered it off of Amazon. I'm not Amazon, eBay, because I was collecting ancient relics from Kemet. Yeah. And when I got it, you know, best overseas women that are pregnant. So my daughter was pregnant, and I had her wear it. And it's funny because my grandson to this day act like Bess. But anyway, but she lost it on the train. She was going to work and she lost it. How did it end up back in my room? She's like, Mom, I'm sorry. I know it was because I lost your necklace, and she lost it on the train. It ended up back in my room. So I know you're not lying. It don't matter what people think. People can't, like I said, it's beyond some comprehension, but stuff like this is real.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let me see what it looked like.
And I don't care what them people think. But it's just funny to me because I really don't know. But this is it right here. This is the statue, and it just like appeared.
Blow up your screen.
Can you? I'm trying to think how I can get it closer. Hold on, let me see.
Blow it up. See if you can blow it up.
I'm trying to, because I got a webcam, so it's like the.
I see it. I got it.
Okay, you see it?
On the phone. That's interesting. Have you done your African ancestry?
Nope, not yet.
That looks like a Bamaleki mask from an ancient one.
Wow.
And it looks like they sent that to you because you are spiritual.
Wow.
You had to have that, but there's a reason. You need to talk to that. You need to talk to that statue. You need to give it a name.
Okay. I should.
Hold on, because the spirit is showing me. The spirit keeps showing me a name with a W. I don't know what, like one key or something like that. It's an ancient. You blessed with that. You got to talk to that and activate that statue.
I sure.
Have you activated? Have you talked to it?
Nah, you know what's amazing is, like, the other day it spoke to me. I mean, literally within the last 7 to 10 days, it spoke to me where it told me to meditate with it. You know what I'm saying? Like to bring it into a meditation with me. And I did it, but what's nuts about it is I feel like the energy was so like powerful, or like it was so much. I couldn't even get into the meditation, which I don't really, have an issue with getting into a meditation. Like I could jump in and jump out, or you know what I mean? Like get in and get to where I'm going in a decent amount of time. But with that, it was just like I felt like the energy was so overwhelming. Like I couldn't even get anywhere in. I felt like a brand new person trying to meditate. Like I could not get anywhere into like a set frame of kind of like just unplugged or unbotheredness. You know what I mean? Which was crazy because normally I don't have an issue with that. But that was, I felt like it just had that kind of influence on the atmosphere, or my environment with the energy that I just said, okay, I'll just try again tomorrow because it wasn't
Let me
going.
tell you this. Let me tell you this. Two things. I'm gonna tell you about the lady that I seen standing behind you in the beginning. But that mask comes from. It looks like they're showing me an older one of your ancestors, and I'm talking about maybe 6 or 7 generations down. He was very, very spiritual. He was darker skin. He wasn't that tall. He might have been about 5'6" or 5'7", but I keep seeing him play the drums. This is an ancestor of yours, and he comes from your mother's side. He sent that to you. He sent that to you, and it came from him. But it looks like somebody, I don't know, in your family that had that before. And it's sort of like the spirits, because he was very spiritual, he was very powerful too. This man was very powerful. He was a darker skin. He had short, salt and pepper gray hair, very, very pleasant looking face. That was one of your great ancestors, and he was very powerful. When I say powerful, he had the ability to shapeshift. You carry his DNA, of course, through your mother. Call him through that statue. Call him, okay? Now, the woman that I seen around you, and I kept seeing her standing there, her hair's about this big, like she had it out. Her hair was gray, and she got very squinty eyes, and she stands behind you. Looks like maybe a great grandmother, and she was standing on your left side right here, and I see her. She was just standing there, serious looking, and her eyes were very squinty. Do you know who your great grandmother is on your mother's side?
Yeah, she on my shrine.
What she look like?
Yeah, she's a gorgeous. I get, when I think about her, I get like emoja energy from her. Gorgeous, chocolate, deeply melanated queen. The picture that I have, she was dressed to go somewhere because she was dressed in a nice, beautiful dress, and then she had I think she had some beads on and like a dope hat. And the hat was dope to me because it looked like a craft almost. Like I don't know why, but it's a dope, like I don't even know what you call that type of hat. But hell, I can go get the picture if you want.
Yeah, because she has squinty eyes. It looks like she had a lot. Her hair came about up to here, but if she took it out, her hair was like out. And it's funny because you said like your moja, because that's how I see her hair.
Wow.
She's standing on this left side of you right now. I see her. And she's looking, she's serious. You better go give her offering. You better give her offering.
What she want? Somebody let me get my pen.
Huh.
Yeah, all you gotta do is tell me what she want, because I'm gonna go ahead and get that right.
She's showing me some tea.
Expeditiously. You said tea? Okay. Okay.
She wants a biscuit and some tea.
Okay. Any particular biscuit? Just a biscuit and tea?
It's a biscuit, like a buttered biscuit. Buttered biscuit.
Yes, sir. I got you, Grandma. Already. Now that's powerful, man. I'm gonna definitely do both. I'm gonna definitely tap in with them, and because I know, like I said, I know they're here. I feel them. And the tribe. Hold on, the tribe. They got a lot to say too.
Something happened to her leg. She keep pointing to her leg, showing me her leg. I don't know what happened to her leg, but she's showing me her leg.
Oh, that's probably my grandmother then, my father's mom, because she had something happen to her leg. Um,
Really?
yeah, that might be her. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that might be. Yeah. I mean, I had to look. I had to ask. So I had to ask probably like my moms or some of my aunts and uncles about my great grandma, but because I don't know, I wasn't even. Yeah,
Right.
I had
Right.
to ask
Right.
about her, but I know my pop's mom did something did happen to her leg too. So either way, I'm gonna
Mhm.
look into it. I'm gonna look into
Yeah,
it.
look into and see. But no, this one is saying she's from your mother's side.
So that's probably my great.
Yeah, she's from your mother's side, but she's showing me her knee, her
Hmm.
leg. Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm gonna have to check in with that.
She could see too. She could see very well. She was a seer. That's why I keep seeing squinty eyes with her.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. So that ran on both sides then. 'Cause I know it ran on my pop's side too. Like my dad, mom, she definitely was a seer, and my pops too. So yeah. And then even my grandfather, the one I don't know, the one you told me about. I remember what you told me about him too. So that's deep.
That great grandmother, where was she from? Because I keep picking up Sierra Leone with her.
Whew. Not sure. I know we're Gullah Geechee, here on the continent. So I'm not sure. What I'm saying where
So
the
that's right, because most of the Gullah Geechees migrated from Sierra Leone. And they were brought here to harvest the rice. So I pick up that with your grandmother. Like her lineage is back to Sierra Leone.
mm,
Yeah.
mm,
And you just confirmed and said y'all was Gullah Geechee, right?
mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's what's up.
She did have an accent.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to my elders tomorrow about that. Sure. That's what's up. Yeah, that man, and I'm glad that hell spirit spoke through me to even ask about the statue, let alone the ancestors, because I've always wondered. I never knew like how it just kind of just appeared, and could not figure out like how or when or where, why, none of that. But it makes sense now.
It was given to you through the ancestral line from your great, 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 I said the sixth great grandfather, who was a very powerful spiritual man. Powerful to the point, like I said, he can shapeshift. He was very in tune with nature. He
Mm,
also played the drums.
wow.
Yeah.
You say great grandfather on mother or father's side?
That was your mother's side. So
Wow.
he was the sixth, I think the seventh the grandfather.
Wow.
That's way back.
Mm. It is like that. Yeah. That's that's spirit, man. That's how spirit works. On and
What
off there.
what did he tell you?
Huh?
What did Baba
About
tell you?
about the receiving different things from Africa, how you have to have certain type of documentation and all that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
but mind you, when we was talking about that, I was like, yo, it come back from way, way back in antiquity. We're talking about like
Yeah.
the origins of Ile Ife. So
Right.
with me telling him about that, what we were talking about, and now you telling about what you talking about, like that's nuts in a good way though. That's amazing. Like the way spirit work, man, for real. Wow.
Wow. Sister Love, why my white crystal turned
Come on.
brown? Reddish, did it take energy from the other crystals? Are y'all making sure that y'all soak your crystals in sea salt and putting them in the sun before y'all even activate them? Because you remember when you get your crystals, everybody else's energy's on it. You want to take everybody's energy off of your crystals. You don't want no commercial energy, nothing. You want to make sure you put it in sea salt water. I usually tell people to put sea salt water, put it in the sun for at least 3 days.
Some of them will break up though.
What?
Some of the crystals will break up like them salt.
The quartz crystals won't break up. Some of the crystals will break up, but the quartz crystals won't. And actually, the quartz crystals are used by the Lumerians. Okay. What's the next question y'all have? I see another question that came up after that.
That's deep because I got a bunch of big old quartz all over the place too, man. That's real deep.
Did
Let me
you
see.
use any soak them in salt water?
Honestly, I'm not gonna say that I did. I'm not. I might have look. I might have saged them. I might have. I might have put them in the sun. You know what I'm saying? Like prayed over. I'm not sure because I had them for a long time. A long
Yeah,
time actually.
do the sea salt water over them, and then not
Okay.
only that, put your own energy into your crystals. Spit
Hmm.
some water on it, spit some gin on it, put your own power into that crystal.
Okay. So what can we do to cleanse it? Now you talking about seawater like from the actual ocean from the sea or like sea
From the
salt from the
well,
shore?
you can if you can't get it. Some people can't get it from the sea. You can use sea salt and make your own own sea salt water. If you can get it from the sea, it's even more powerful. Okay.
I
The
say.
quartz have a lot of different healing abilities. People wear it. Sometimes they put it under their pillow for dreams. Sometimes you can put it on your heart to heal your body. There's so many different attributes that it has to it.
to get rid of
Yeah,
headaches.
you can use it actually to get rid of headaches. That's where the sun comes in. Now, it's funny because the other day I was sitting in the driveway and I was in the direction of Ra. And I talk to Ra. I do a lot of sun gazing, y'all. So when I talk to Ra, I even use Ra for a pendulum, y'all. Some people don't know about that, but you can. So I was it because I had a headache. So in Africa, a lot of times they say if you have a headache, go sit in the direction of the sun for about an hour. So I did that. So if you use your crystals, after you clean with sea salt, you put them in the sun for an hour. Let the sun activate them raw. I call them raw. Let raw activate it, and then put it on your head when you have a headache. Put it right on your first eye. Okay, so those are some of the things the crystals could do for you. All right, y'all. Any more questions y'all got? Who took 10 and 9 from Amazon? Who? I don't know. Where did our brother go?
Now I'm here. I'm trying to sift through the notes and then also multitasking here at the house too. But another one, it says soaked in the sun and okay for sea salt. I guess for charging the crystals.
Yeah. Soaked in the sun, and you could put. What I do is I put them in the sea salt water and I leave them in the sun for 3 days. And then I'll take it out and I'll leave it in the sun without the sea water to activate the power of that crystal. And of course, I put my own energy, my own inyama in it. You're welcome.
Now, so now when you talk about certain ones, like for me, I don't even know what all crystals I got, but um, in regards to like soaking them in the sea salt and all that stuff, like what type of crystals would be more prone to like the ones that we shouldn't put into the sea salt? In terms of like it might do some type of damage or anything. Are there any specific ones that we might need to watch out for when it comes to that?
Don't put amethyst in sea salt. You don't want to put your black tourmaline in sea salt. Those are the ones I know that you really shouldn't put in the sea salt.
Gotcha. I say.
Okay. Um. Yeah, they have a whole bunch of crystals. We used to sell them at the store when we had our store, but there's a whole bunch of crystals. Not just crystal stones. Period.
Mm,
The
I say.
pyrites. You don't want to put the pyrites in sea salt. Those are the sparkly silver ones. You don't want to put them in sea salt.
The
Mm,
seleniums, they'll break.
Right. Oh yeah, the seleniums. You don't want to put them in sea salt because they'll break.
gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
got one of my favorite crystals that broke. Does that take away any of the like the energy of the eye share, the power of it if it breaks? 'Cause I got like I think it's hawk's eye crystal, dope crystal. It was beautiful crystal before, like while it was intact, but then somehow I don't know how it broke, but it broke. And so, does it keep the same energy, or does that kind of take away from it if it does get compromised in regards to being intact?
No, it'll keep the same energy. It's just broken half. Now you got two energies. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah, you got two energies. You could work with both of them.
That's what's up.
Another one is good. What's the green one that I have?
What's on?
The green one that goes with the diamond one. I can't.
Oh,
Emerald, topaz.
No, no, it's green.
it's
It's
no, I
powerful.
can't think of what it's called.
I got it on the tip of my tongue.
Not Herkimer.
Well, the Herkimer
it's
diamond
an asteroid.
is like they say it comes from a planet, an asteroid that crashed on a planet.
Mm.
Very powerful. I got a couple of them, and I just can't think of the name right now. But it goes good with a Herkimer diamond. It's very, very powerful.
Wow.
They're
Even
real
more,
expensive.
and then
Mm.
Moldavite, yeah.
moldavite is very
Mm.
powerful.
That's dope.
If you put it with the Herkimer diamond, it's even more powerful.
How do you spell that? Moldavite? Is it M-O or M-U?
Mo.
M-O?
Uh-huh.
Moldavite. That's dope. I'm gonna look that up. That's what's up.
Yeah, but they're very expensive because they said that they came from an asteroid crashing. I don't
Hmm.
know, one of them countries. What country was it?
I want to say like Russia.
Like Russia, one of them countries where asteroid crashed, and that's where they get the moldavite from. It came from another planet.
Trying to look it up.
Mm.
Yeah, very
Wow.
powerful.
That's deep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. Teresa, I'm not sure if she was talking about Wunam. We'll have to definitely like try to put something together. Because yeah, like maybe something like with the ancestors or I don't know. I was actually looking into doing a remote viewing class probably like in the next week or two. I think that'd be something dope too. You
Yeah,
know,
Come from the
where we can
yeah,
remote view into the planets like I do.
yeah,
Yeah, we could
like
do that.
yeah, in a group session because it's like the power of it's a lot more powerful when it's more of us. You know what I'm saying? Than just one or two people.
Yeah, we could do that. I love remote viewing.
That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
So I got like one more question, and then Ogun Sola Humble Heart said, "Do my ancestors want to tell me anything from Terelia? Terelia?
Terelia.
Terelia?
You do have a lot. I do see a lot of ancestors around you, but I'm picking up an older man. He looks like he's about 6'2". He's like a caramel complexion. He was kind of funny. He got a
Hmm.
mustache. Who is that older man that I'm seeing?
Hmm.
Tell me who that older man. He's about 6'2", caramel complexion. He got a short haircut, short hair, mostly gray. Look like it's mostly gray, and he is funny. He's laughing.
That's funny. I bet you she gonna know too.
He walks. He walks like he bad. He got like a, our brothers have a swag about him, right?
Oh
But he
yeah,
walk
yeah,
like you
yeah.
can't tell him nothing. That's why I see him walking.
I know a couple OGs like that in real life
Yeah,
and ancestor realm. Look,
yeah,
Baba Tulu like that.
yeah. He is like that. Walk just like he
Yeah,
got real swag,
yeah, Baba
and he's
Goon,
just
but
standing there laughing.
That's
He's around you, and then I see a woman around you. There's a woman. This woman looks like she's almost white. She's very light skinned, very light skinned, almost
wow,
like
this.
kind of Creole kind of like Louisiana Creole.
Hmm. Now this is crazy. I got one more question. I'm gonna take one
Okay.
more try. I'm gonna take this one, and then I'm gonna ask one more because I know it's getting late. I don't want to keep Wuna all night because if we start these divination, boy, this thing can keep on going. Who knows how long?
I already know, right?
So Anitra, like this, Anitria, this is what's even more nuts about that. She had a question about her, our it was Bemeleke from Cameroon.
Mama Leke. Mm-hmm.
Bemeleke, yeah.
from Cameroon.
Yes, they are. And let me show y'all. We'll cover my name here. You see this? It says right here. Can y'all see? You see that?
Wow,
Where you at?
that's crazy. Yeah, we see it. I want to highlight it so like it'll be bigger on your end. That's crazy. Wow.
What's crazy is I just got that 2 weeks ago. Now, I tell y'all, I got a friend of mine. They're both are sisters. One's a doctor, one's a nurse practitioner. They're both from Cameroon. So,
Tell the
y'all,
story.
let me tell y'all the story. Y'all see my husband right here? You see?
Mm-hmm.
You see him?
Lafayette, what's going
Now,
on with you?
she had,
Hey,
say hi to everybody. She had jokes because she always say that's her brother, right? Oh, my brother, because he's darker skin. Not that she's racist, but she had jokes. So last week she called us to do some cleansing because she calls us once in a while to do cleansing for her and do her house to clean her house spiritually. So I get the news, so I call I call up her sister, which is my good friend too. She always texting me. I said, look, I said, it says 99.7% Bamaleke, right? So before I even get to her house, I go to the door. I said, now who's your sister, right? So I said, you see? So her sister said, you come from, your maternal side comes from Chantel. Her name is Chantel. Chantel's tribe. Her father, no, her tribe is from Veneration.
Uh-oh. No. Oh, damn it, family. I think hopefully they didn't start storming up there where Wunam's at. I know they was anticipating some storms, so I don't know if the Wi-Fi acting up or what, but damn, that sucks. Hopefully she'll get back in with us. Real quick, okay, I think she's coming back now. Hold on 1 second, family. Here she goes. Boom. Okay, I was like,
Okay.
man, I ain't know if them storms started or what. I'm like, man, I hope
No, I don't know. Maybe that's the ancestors, but it's crazy because so I get up to the door. I said, now who's your sister? I said, he was your brother, but I wasn't dark enough to be your sister. But look, my maternal side, the very powerful side, is from your father's tribe. I said, and it's not 50%. I said 99.7% mitochondrial DNA from the Bamaleke tribe.
I know. She already told me.
She said, I know. She already told me. I said, all right, my sister. Now, after that, now she want to be my sister. She want to give me clothes from the tribe. You know what I mean? The wear that they have. So
That's
I was
crazy.
laughing. I said, uh-huh. See? I said, so don't think all women from Africa should be dark skinned. We come in all colors. We come in all colors. From light vanilla to dark chocolate. So
Fact.
don't be like that. But I think
Yeah.
what it is that she had some experiences
In here in America.
in America with the dark skin and the light skin.
Oh yeah.
But I had to tell her, I said, look, I'm your African sister. I said, I grew up in an African household. Now, Cabo Verde, we're mixed up. Some of us are light, some of us are dark. My mother had 2 dark kids and 2 light kids, but we're all her children. So you got to realize that everybody's not like that. I don't hate my sister. Me and my brother are very tight. But I don't treat him different because he's dark skinned. So I had to tell her. So I think she has some experiences, and she understands because I always look out for her. So now I'm her sister for real. But anyway, yeah, Bamaleke is in Cameroon, and what she told me about the history, she said they're very, very wealthy people. She said they are known for entrepreneurship out of all the tribes in Cameroon. So she said they're hustlers. I said, okay, so that's where I get it from, huh? That's where I get it from. But
So rubbing it in
an
our
interesting fact, since we're talking about ancestors, I want to share this with you, Anitria. What I learned about them, the way that they deal with their ancestral shrines, because once I found out, I start going for the spiritual part. I need to learn the spiritual part. So what they do is when their ancestors die, they take the skulls of the ancestors and they keep it in a house with all the ancestors that died. And that's how they pay homage to their ancestors through the skulls.
and that's how they communicate.
And that's how they communicate with the ancestors through their skulls. I thought that was interesting. But that's one thing I learned. And I haven't learned about the gods, which I'm going to start using now because they come in my mitochondrial DNA. So yes, the Bamaleke tribe is a very powerful tribe, and then she told me they were very powerful spiritually too. She did say that. Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna be up under her since that's her father's tribe because she's from Cameroon. So I'm gonna be learning more about the Bamaleke because that's my mitochondrial DNA.
Yes, sir. No, that's deep. And shout out to Anitria, man. What's I'm gonna tell you how powerful spirit is. It's nuts because I meant to say this on one of the other podcasts, but you actually remind me. I got a cousin, my blood first cousin. Y'all look just alike. I have to send you a picture of her, but and her name is damn near the exact same name as Anitria, the one that just asked that question. I'm like, yo, this is like, like what?
Really?
We talk about the man. Listen, like that, and it goes back to what you were saying earlier about how we all have people that look like us. So you know, what I'm saying, we might look like or favor, across the globe. It doesn't matter like
Yeah.
how far or close they are, from us. That's a real thing, man. But that's deep.
Well,
That's real.
that determines on what planet you come from too.
Mm.
You know that, right?
No, I didn't. I did
Never
not.
heard that? So if
Mm-mm.
you look, if you certain features you got,
Mm-hmm.
and you see somebody who looks like your features or similar to, because we all look alike in some type of way. I've
Right.
heard people say, "Oh, you look like my cousin in you know
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica."
Mm-hmm.
Each species comes from their different planetary systems.
Mm.
So I might find another brother who looks like you, same type of features, all kind. Y'all come from this planetary system,
Wow.
and I noticed the people, and there's a few people say they come from Saturn. We
Mm-hmm.
look like a certain way. We got certain features. You never heard that, did you?
Mm. Uh, mm, mm, well, yes and no. Yes and no. Because I feel like the I think I'm looking at it more for, I guess, a species aspect from different planets. Like, for example, like, the Dracons, the Draconians, the reptilians, you know what I'm saying, all that kind of stuff. They all have different like features and all that. But as far as like humanoid beings, no, that part that's new to me. So and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I know a little bit, but yeah, you know, like I know more than, but yeah. So that's definitely
Spirit
something.
showed me that a long time ago.
Mm,
So anybody that looks like you, they come from a certain planetary system.
mm, I
Right.
see.
Certain beings have certain features, and that's how you know that they're from the same planetary system.
Mm, I see. That's
Yeah.
what's up. And then
You. Mm-hmm.
Ogunsola Humble Heart said she followed back up when answering your question about her ancestors. So one she mentioned was Grandma Julia, and then another one she mentioned was maybe for the male, I think it was Grandpa Phyllis.
Really.
So those were the ones that she said that she can name.
Grandma Julia, she wants you to stop worrying so much. What you worry about, Ogunsola? Stop worrying. Whatever you're worrying about, she said it's going to be okay. Hmm. She said it's going to be fine. Just don't stop worrying. And also, you need to talk to her too. You need to talk to her.
Wow. Then the architect, she said, I wonder if there are any spirituality that have the power to tell someone what tribe they come from. Yeah, she doing it right now, architect.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
seen the last one we did when you was doing the divination, but yeah, if you check out
Yeah.
that episode, man, yeah, she went in on that for
If
sure.
you if you if you give me a picture of I usually go by the grandfather and the grandmother, or your mother and father, then I can go into spirit and see what tribe you come from. Yeah.
That's dope.
Okay. Yeah.
Hmm. And
So
I got
either or grandmother, grandfather, or your mother and father, picture of both of them, and I can go into spirit and they'll show me what tribe you come from. Like I just with his grandmother, her features from what I seen in spirit showed me that she was from Sierra Leone. That's her main tribe.
hmm.
Because we kind of mixed up.
Yeah, that's deep. That's real deep. I got one more. Let me see. And Kosi got one. And Kosi said, "Does our zodiac sign determine our planet?"
Nope. A lot of people think that it does, but it doesn't.
Mm,
No. Especially when you're looking at the planetary, the astrological system, they'll try to say that, but nah.
mm,
You got some people, you know, the most powerful spiritual beings that I know, including the ancient Kemet ancestors. They're from the Jupiter planetary system. Now, there's some that come from Mars, but they're not like the ancient Kemetic ones. The ancient Kemetic ones come from Jupiter. Jupiter is huge. Now, I did a scrying in Jupiter years ago, and it's a beautiful, beautiful planet. But every being on that planet is super, super spiritual. And Jupiter is responsible for also reactivating our DNA. Because you got to remember, Jupiter governs, protects the Earth from asteroids. So the energy that Jupiter emits to us, it actually protects us. But Jupiter is responsible for all of our spiritual transformation we're going through right now. Okay? So any spiritual transformations, even on other planetary system, even the species, the animals are going through a spiritual transformation. This is all part of the universal transformation and Aquarius energy, okay, that is presented to us right now. So yes, a lot of, now I'm gonna tell y'all this too before we go. Years ago, because again, I communicate with everything, and I don't just read books. I go into spirit and I ask spirit. So years ago, I had my initiates. This is what the ancient ones told me. Do rituals by the planet. So they had to go outside and they had to do rituals by Saturn, Jupiter, and Venus. And they had to write it backwards. So Jupiter backwards is repertuge, backwards. Venus is Sunev. And what was it? I said Saturn. Saturn is, however you say it backwards, New Terce or something like that. So they had to draw it on the Earth backwards. And with Saturn, they had to get black cubes because there's a cube on the top of Saturn. So they had to get black cubes and ask Saturn to infuse that cube with energy. Now, these are things that the ancient ancestors, the Kemetic ancestors told me to do. So we would go outside and we would do the rituals on the ground, and we would ask these planetary systems to actually assist with these rituals. Okay? So that's something we used to do. And I was just going to tell you one more thing. I've lost my train of thought. Oh, the last thing I want to say to y'all before I go. Ladies, I got a message the other day from the ancestors that we need to go back to wearing dresses again. Dresses or skirts. Dresses or skirts, okay? And it has something to do without vaginas, okay? Spirit said that we have allowed it to be closed. We have to let it go free. It's so funny.
Sounds funny.
My husband's laughing. It's not funny, right? And they said that we have actually tampered with Mother Nature by doing that, by enclosing it with panties, with pants. You have to let it go free. Now, of course, when you go out, you want to wear some type of pant. If you don't wear panties, wear something black so they can't see your butt between the, with something, they can see through. Right? But try to let the earth, even if you stand over the seawater or stand over some dirt, just let your vagina breathe. Whatever we got to do this for, they didn't give me that yet, but I'm going to ask. But I do know it's to kind of allow yourself to go through a transformation. Okay? So ladies, all them pants and all them panties, take it off. Take it off and let your stuff air out. It's just like when the ancients told me years ago that we had to do a week of greens because whatever was in the plants was going to help us go through our next level of transformation. So we did a whole week of nothing but greens. And the plants was responsible for taking our blood, which is the life source, to our next level of transformation. So I'm going to leave y'all with that. Chloe Dior says, I've been feeling that. Okay, good. So it's on point then. It's on point. All right, where did my brother go? Where you at?
Right here, I'm just laughing because it's a lot of multitasking.
What's so funny?
It's a lot of stuff because I heard somebody over there ad libbing like while you was talking.
Really?
I heard the ad libs, and then I'm looking at the comments. I said, I'm not sharing any more comments because stuff was said that.
Letting it go free.
Yeah, but y'all, come on now. That's where you
Oh
birth your
man,
babies. You gotta
man.
let it go free. You birth your babies out of that now. Some of us can't have kids no more, but let that
Oh,
stuff free.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Shout out to Teresa Miller. I'll share the link to that. Matter of fact, let me grab it right now to that episode that we did the last the one where she did divination. I'm not sure what number it is, but I'm gonna pull up real quick for y'all. But real quick, while I do that, Wunam, did you have anything else that you want to share with the tribe before we wrap it up? While I find that other one we did.
Well, based off of this show talking about our ancestors, spend more time with your ancestors. As a matter of
Sure.
fact, especially now because we're going through another transformation. Okay? So make sure you spend more time with your ancestors, listening to them, talking to them. If you don't hear them, ask them to come to your dreams because they'll do that too. Okay? Spend a lot more time with your ancestors, giving them offerings, and making sure you keep a tight connection with them. Okay? And that's the message I have for y'all. Because right now they're here.
Mm,
They're here like the Million Man China Army.
mm,
Ancestors are everywhere. And not just our personal ancestors. We're talking about ancient ancestors. You understand? They're coming from the planetary systems. They're coming from the sea. They're coming from the inner earth. They're coming from everywhere.
mm.
They're all around us, y'all. So make sure you keep a connection with your ancestors.
I say. Yes, sir. Yeah, now that's real. Yeah. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up, man. Wunam, I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate all the time that you took to share with us this evening, all the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding, overstanding, understanding, understanding. Shout out to Baba Shola and yeah, man, the ancestors, the feminine energy, the mothers, the IJ, the Yami, like
That's
all the
it.
mothers,
That's it.
Mother Earth, like the cosmic mother, my aunt, I said all the ancient, deities, Odu, all the ancient deities from the feminine aspects of existence. I give homage and praise and thanks. I appreciate all of y'all. In the words of Pac, man, you are appreciated. So I give thanks to the tribe for showing up and showing out as usual. And listen, we're going for the three-peat, man. So we'll be back tomorrow night, I think at 9 p.m., man, with the brother Brian Hayes to talk about the tribes of the land. So the ancestors are here, in full spectrum, and I give thanks for being the vessel, to kind of be the vessel that they speak through, man. I give thanks to you, and shout out to the tribe, and yeah, with that, family, we'll see y'all on the next episode. So this has
All
been
right.
another episode of the African Spirituality Experience, and the mothers are here, man, and the ancestors have returned, and yeah, if you didn't know, now you know.
Now you know. That's right. All right.
Yes, sir.
Ashe and Toy Moo. You know the Dogon say Toy Moo.
Hmm.
It's just
All
like
right.
Ashe, but that's the Dogon. Actually, at the end of every prayer, they say Toy Moo.
Hmm. Ashe.
Yeah. Many
That's what's
things.
up.
All right,
Toyimu.
y'all.
Ashe Toyimu.
Ashe Toy
Odapo.
Moo.
We'll see y'all tomorrow night at the Divine Nine. We out, family. Peace.
All right. Peace.
Ayo. Odabo.
And Dabo.
ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé ṣàpò ìyàgbọ́ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo sí ẹni gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́ forsake not your ancestors and praise your.